Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain.
Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Sorry it's a little later than usual, but hopefully it's worth it. But welcome into the channel. My name is Tanya, or TitaniumBuilt. If you're new here, welcome in. Welcome into everybody that's been holding out for the live all evening. Thank you guys for waiting for me. I appreciate it so much. I just didn't realize that I had to watch this video. I was watching a video for us to review tonight. Well, we're not going to review the video. I've got so many notes. I reviewed it for us. But I had to look at the screen the whole time because I had to read the closed captioning along with like the transcripts to try to make sure I was hearing everything correctly and that I was jotting it all down correctly for you guys. So it was a little crazy there. I was like, I even ate dinner in here. Like I didn't even eat dinner with Vincent. Like normally we eat dinner together. Not tonight. Not tonight. But welcome in, everybody. I won't waste everybody's time with saying hi to every single person in the chat. But welcome in, mods. Thank you for being here. Welcome in, members. Thank you for being here. Subscribers, everybody that just decided to subscribe tonight. Thank you for being here. And everybody that's just watching in the background. Everybody, welcome in. It's good to see all the names. I'm going through I'm scrolling through the chat. So it's good to see everybody. Well, it's good to see you all. Yeah, and don't forget to smash the thumbs up for your girl. We haven't been patiently waiting. You can kill on that. I bet. I think my computer screens are a little jacked, but that's fine. Actually, I think I messed it up there. It's the eye. Hey, Wolfie. And Ash, thank you for texting me today and letting me know what was going on in the streets, because I probably wouldn't have found out about this video for a couple more days, to be truthful. I don't really talk, or I don't really watch, like I told you guys, a lot of Idaho 4 content. And there was a reason for that. And now it's now my For You page is full of weird stuff. It's full of, I don't know what y'all been watching out there, but I know y'all been watching that weird stuff. So now I'm going to be watching it and reviewing it. So, the DoorDash driver, that's what we're going to be talking about this evening with the Idaho 4 case. I'm sure everyone's aware, but before we actually get into that, I want to show you my nails. So, I've been painting my nails each month for one of the victims. I did this like 2 years ago, and I thought it was just a cute idea to do it again this year, especially with the trial coming. So in May, I had them pink. If you guys remember, you're going to die when you see them. I went in today to get them done. I sat down. This is a quick story time. I was in the chair for 45, 50 minutes. No one even came up to me. Someone was going to come up to me, and the guy was like, no, this person has an appointment. I had a 2:00 appointment. I had an appointment. I'm like, what? So I was like, really peed there. I was about to leave, but I didn't. I was like, no, just don't do that. Like my nail had chipped off. It was a mess. So my other nails were pink for Maddie May, for the month of May. And now they're going to be purple. Well, I'll show you the purple on them for Kaylee. So if you look at my nails from back here, they're pink, right? They're the same color, it looks like, pretty much. But if you look very closely, which, I don't think it's going to like focus in on it. Let me see. On my pinky nails, you can't see it, but there's little hearts. They're purple because my nails turned out pink. I thought I picked out a light purple, like a really light purple. These were pink, like to me, they were too pink. So I was like, can we like put some purple on these? And he was like, yeah. And it was the owner, and he is a really nice guy. And so I waited 45 minutes after my appointment time. Yeah. And everybody got waited on, but me. And I was just sitting there, and I was in Queen Bee's chat. I was cussing in there. Like, I was like, get my bail money ready. I was like, it's happening today. I was like, so I actually stopped the girl that works up front, and it's not her fault, but it kind of was, because she's the one that told me to sit down. And I was like, am I going to get helped? And she was like, And when she went that, I don't know. It was just something in the personality. I don't know. I was just like, these people have all been helped, and I haven't. And I'm over here with broken fingernails. So that's what I was like, what am I going to do? Because then whenever the guy sat down to do my nails, I was like, well, it's not really his fault, but it is kind of, because then I realized he was the owner. But last time he did my nails, they lasted forever. So I was like, okay, and I told him, I was like, he's like, I am so sorry that you've been sitting here for so long. He was so nice. When I went to leave, he only charged me for the dip. So I got like, some nails are fake because like they were just broke. And he said that it's because like when I do the gel, they like take down some of my real nail. So he gave me a whole nail lesson too. And he was really nice. And he didn't charge me for like the design or, any of that. And which I thought was pretty nice, because I've never gotten anything free from a nail place before. They should have put in an extra like a glass of wine, and we would have been good to go, because I think they have wine there. Yeah, right, baby girl. I know that like, I know you're a professional. There are some people that are so professional, and then there are some people that, like today, it was a crazy day. So that's my big skip for you guys, my big story time. But yeah, I didn't realize that the gel did that. Like, I heard things about gel and they weren't good, but I didn't really know. I just thought that they were trying to upsell you with the powder, right? And I'm like, I work from home. How am I going to like break these? Girls and boys. I had one broke before I even got home. Like, I was like, that lasted 5 minutes. It's right there. Thank you, Delana. I just got it done. Just got my hair done too. Look at me over here getting stuff done, making myself look all nice for y'all. Look at that. I mean, who else am I looking nice for other than Vincent? It really is. It's for you guys. So, the big thing on the big story on the streets is that there is the DoorDash delivery driver has been named, and she is not. When I pictured like the DoorDash driver, I don't know if we have like, if anyone else has like an image in your head of like who you think, like what the image, like who you think the DoorDash driver would be, or who they would look like, or what they would look like. I pictured some like young kid. I don't know why I did, but I did. And this lady isn't. She's, middle. No, she's not middle age. I wouldn't say that. She's like 45. She's 45. She does have the dark hair because she has like her hair colored, but whenever you like see her tilt her head down, like in just one part of the video, it's an arrest video, by the way. But when she puts her head down, you can see the dark roots. So I'm pretty sure that this is the lady. I mean, everything's checking out, right? I think. So, where was my notes? Oh, they're there. I put them down here. I forgot. So I have a bunch of notes. I have like 4 pages that I typed out. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5. That's it. And that took me 3 hours. Where was I at for the last 3 hours? Okay. Well, I'm here now. But we have found the DoorDash driver. So I'm going to refer to her as her initials, MM, just because I feel like she might have to go to trial. She might have to take the stand, but they may give her that option to not be shown to, the public, just like they did that they're going to do with Dylan and Bethany. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do. So she might have wanted that option, but now she doesn't have that option because of YouTubers. And the YouTubers that are putting her story out there, other than Drunk Turkey, and we're going to go over his video tonight. He did a good video that I've seen so far anyway. A lot of the videos have been just really going after this lady. I mean, she looks like she's lived a rough life. She does. She looks like she's lived a rough life. She's had a lot of trauma. You hear it when they arrest her and she goes back and she talks to this woman that's like a healthcare worker, and she talks to an officer. You can tell that she, she's just lived a hard life all the way around. That doesn't mean that we pin things on people that they aren't convicted of, or even charged with, right? Like these people are going around saying that she's on meth, that she's charged with meth. That's not, from what I gathered, that's not what she was charged with. She was charged with a DUI, but they do think it was because of drugs now, and I will get to that. So we'll get to all of that, but just there are a lot of people that are out there that are going after her, and I don't want to be one of those people, but I do want to bring you guys, I want to recap this whole, video for you at the same time. So I'll tell you what I heard, and believe you me, I have good ears. I may not have great eyes, but I have great ears. So, and if I have to, we can always go back to the timestamps. I do have some listed here, but I don't want to have to pull them up because Drunk Turkey plays parts of it, and he does a good job. And I didn't even get to watch all of his video, Ash. It was crazy. So is that what her title said? See, I didn't even look at the titles. I just went to the creators that I knew were problematic before. I got 56 seconds into Harsh Reality's video, and I actually went boop, 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 with the arrow, to fast forward it 5 seconds. I did that 2 or 3 times because he was saying, you look beautiful today. That don't tell me I look beautiful today. I know I do, Thanks. Thank you, Devani. That's very nice. Thank you. The world's gone to waste. Yeah, she didn't she didn't have anything on her that they were saying. They were just saying that she was driving while under the influence. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what it was. The charge. Oh my gosh, they have some weird charges out there. And I also will tell you, they will let you out of jail there if you get a DUI. Not in Ohio, not in Texas. Idaho, they will, though. They'll just have you come the next day. Say what? Yeah, Magamama, I'm going to go over it. So I'm going to go over what I have in my notes, and then we're going to listen to his video, and then we're going to come back. So I'm glowing. Thank you. I hope that's a good glow. Actually, I just got done doing some skincare earlier. That's probably why. Yeah, so and it is a woman. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess I'll give you that. Now, I don't know if my notes are gonna make any sense, so I'm gonna, like, read through and then read them to you because I literally was just, like, typing away, and there's a lot of red in here, when you're doing, like, a Google Doc. So I'm like, "Ooh." Um, but there are, some creators out there that are going after this person, and I think that's immature. It's a way to get views, and people are gonna watch it. I mean, they are. Like, they just I don't know how they I don't know how. I guess it's because it's Idaho for content and people just wanna soak it all up, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know because I can't watch it. Like, for me to watch this 56-minute video today was like, this lady's just going through a time, you know what I mean? And I personally, if I got charged, was pulled over and charged with a DUI, I would not want that on the internet. Like, but I mean, some people don't care. So it says here. Oh yeah, so okay, so yeah, and so the MN is the same initials that they refer to in the documents as being the DoorDasher. Um, Now in the video, and you'll see bits and pieces of it on when we play Drunk Turkey. In the video, they pull her over at 7 p.m. They and actually, I don't know if you got my text. I don't know if I text you back, but the dates, she does say that it was the 4th on there. So her body cam must be a day off, which is not good. But she'll know what I'm talking about. But they pull her over at 7 p.m. and they want to do a field sobriety test. So that's where the video pretty much comes on. Like, she's, already out of the vehicle. We don't see her on the road to see what she's done to get pulled over. We just see her getting pulled, or she's already been pulled over. She gets out of the vehicle and the officer says, I'm going to have you do a couple of field sobriety tests. You don't have to I'm not going to have you do any walking or like standing on one leg. I mean, like it was almost like they knew each other. Like the cops knew her, like, I know that one of them definitely did, but it seemed like they all kind of had an inkling of who she was. I don't know if it's that small town kind of vibe or what, but but they had her do the test where she first looks at the tip of the pen. Like, they'll say, follow the tip of my pen, and they go like this way, that way, up, down. Then they had her do a test, which I've never seen before, ever heard about, never seen or heard. Let me know if you have, where the officer will tell you whenever she's ready, she'll tell you to tip your head backwards, like back, close your eyes and count, or not count. She'll say, open your eyes and look at me after what you think is about 30 seconds worth of time. Like, she doesn't tell you to count to 30. So if you're not really like paying attention to her, like, that would confuse anybody, right? So you tip your head back, you count to 30. I would be dizzy if you were, I guess, impaired, right? And then you open it and you're supposed to look straight at her. She did both of those tests, and both of those tests, in my opinion, she didn't do bad. I didn't think she did that bad at all. I was like, dang, girl. But they did say they were going to arrest her for DUI. They said that this was the second time that she was arrested for DUI, and in the truck that was her boyfriend's, because when she was pulled over, she was in Jimmy. I think that's his name. Sorry, I shouldn't have said his name, but his truck. And just because I keep hearing her to say his name over and over again, but she kept saying his name, like, I don't want to get off the phone with him. Like, they're trying to get her to get off the phone with him, and it was she didn't want to get off the phone. She was scared. But they arrested her for the DUI, and they said that they had already arrested her once for the DUI, right? So this is her second one, and they were awaiting blood results to come back for that one because she blew. She wasn't drunk. She didn't have any alcohol in her system. They weren't charging her for that. They were charging her for driving impaired while being on drugs, not drunk. So they arrested her and they said, "Hey, we're just going to tow the truck." I guess they didn't tow it the first time, she was saying, but they did tow it the second time, which I'm surprised they didn't tow it the first time. Usually, if you get a DUI, they put you in the back of the seat of the cruiser and, you go to jail and your car gets towed to the tow wherever they tow it, and you go pick it up whenever you're out. But also in Ohio, you get a DUI in Ohio, you go to jail. If no one bails you out, then you have to go see them, like the next morning you go see the judge or whenever the next business day is. If you get caught on a Friday night, you're not going to see a judge till Monday. You better hope you got a friend that's going to bail you out. I wrote here, it says, it seems like they know her from prior occasions, which it did. And she just wants to talk to her boyfriend and doesn't comprehend why she can't. She doesn't know why she is getting arrested. She also doesn't seem to be under the influence of something, in my opinion. I don't know what it is because she is there for a while and it seems to be just as bad when she walked in. She didn't sober up or act different, so that tells me maybe it's because of years of drug use and trauma. That's what just from observing her. Not saying she was on anything, but I do think that she appeared like she may have at one point in time been on drugs for a long time, or she was still on them. And at the end of this, my opinion kind of changes, but they got her to the station and the lady cop comes to talk to her some more. A male cop comes up to her, and I put 1854. I put the time in there, and says, "What happened? Alcohol or drugs?" And the lady cop says drugs. So I said, I'm going to assume that they found something in her boyfriend's truck to make her say that. They charged her with driving or being in actual physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and or drugs. That's what their DUI charge is out there. So they charged her with driving or being in actual physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and or drugs. Guess that rules out beer. That's going to be someone's going to get pulled over to say that. They gave her a breathalyzer. She passed it. But they said, but it was never a question. That's what the cop said. But it was never a question that you would pass it. Meaning they knew she wasn't drinking, but was charging her with being under the influence of drugs. So that makes me go back and think that they did find something in the truck. Like, I don't know if they did or not, but I mean, unless they're going to get her blood, and they never did, they let her go, right? Like, how did they know she was under the influence of drugs other than the one hydrocodone she took that day, 10 milligram? Like, they would have charged her with that if she didn't have a prescription for that, I feel like, I don't even know if they asked her for one. They didn't even ask her for one on camera anyway. So maybe they weren't too worried about a 10 milligram hydrocodone, or they already knew that she was on something different, like more than 1 to 10 milligram hydrocodone. I don't know. I do know that they were getting the canines out to check the car. Like, they were going to go around the truck, and they said that if they did get a present, like the dog hit on the truck, that they were going to put in for a search warrant for the vehicle, and they were going to tow the vehicle and hold it in impound until they got their search warrant. So I don't know what happened. We should probably have a follow-up to this, right? So she got a citation and a notice of hearing that she had to be in court the following morning in Pullman. They took her property and put her in a holding cell. And if you have never been in a holding cell, I put what it is. If you've never been like in a holding cell or seen a holding cell before, it usually just holds one person, or if it's big city, they usually have huge ones. But like these ones just hold like one person. They're single cells, and they hold the person in there until either they're bonded out, or they can get out, or B, they're put into general population. They're just held in there for a little while they're doing their paperwork, and they're going to send them into general pop. So they bring her back out of the holding cell, which at first I thought was really weird. I was like, what's going on here? Because usually, you go from the holding cell to general population, or you get bailed out. but they do evaluate you if you are somebody that could like self-harm. And that's what I thought maybe this lady was at first. And I think she was the lady that like did that kind of stuff. She was just like that on-call nurse or something, that helped patients like this, or jailers like this. So she went into a lot of trauma, which I'm not going to put out there. She put out a lot though. But the lady asked her, so this is your first time getting in trouble? And she said yes. Well, that'd be a lie. She got in trouble. She just got a second DUI. The lady knew that. The lady knows these things before she goes in, you know that. But when she said, she was like, yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, she's already lying. Where was I at? So I said, they reassured her that she will be going home. And even that, like, it didn't change the way that she was going about things. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever, like, I don't think whatever was like, whatever trauma was in her body that was, coming out, and whether that was from, trauma or drugs, like you could see that there was something wrong with her. You know what I mean? Like she needed help, like, people do in that situation. But even after they reassured her that she was going home, she didn't like chip her up or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I may be, or let's say I got arrested for my second DUI. I'd probably be like crying and be all sad and stuff, right? I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. If someone tells me we're going to go home, I would probably be like, oh, really? Cool. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think that the tears would go away a little bit. She wasn't really crying. She was but I'm just saying, like, she didn't act any differently after hearing that. So, but she does ask her, do you think the officers arrested you because of your medical conditions? Because that is all she keeps referring back to when they ask her if she's impaired. Like every time they would ask her about being impaired, she'd say, well, this was this and this and this happened to me. And she wasn't given an answer. And, I don't know why that was. But she did say that she told them, I took a pain pill because of her back, because of so on and so on. She just kept going on and on and on. She says, did you take a stimulant today? She says, I took hormones because of immune system deficiency. And she talked about being sick and this and that. She went on for a good minute, never answered the question. So she moved on to another question. Like, I guess the lady isn't there to get answers because she just dropped the question and moved on. She asked another question. She asked other questions about drugs. Then she went on about her health again. And then she says she saw her husband murdered in front of her and he was shot 9 times. Now, just going to stop it there for a minute. And it happened in Moscow. I can't find that anywhere. I'm not saying she's lying at all. I'm 0% saying that. But if somebody comes across an article, I mean, because I thought the last time there was when was that? What was that murder about? The last time there was a murder in Moscow? Probably bring up this. It was in 2015. It doesn't tell me what it was about. If I put in 2015. Okay, let's see. See, no, this is what's a man who killed 3 people, including his mother. Wait, hold on. This might be him. Hold on. Wait. No. Hold on. Wait. It's not, but it's weird. because she does say like this last name, but I think she was like, but that's what the caption, the closed captioning picked up, but that's not really, I don't think what she said. That's why I'm just reading this really quick, like to see if. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, it was, this one says 2015. Well, the first time it did. Yeah, the first time I typed it in. It was, it says faces 3 murder charges. Yeah, and shooting spree. What? Insurance company and an Arby's. Wow, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like a different town over. That's what he said. It said by his she said by his friend, but I don't see any articles about it. But I mean, that's what I was saying, like 0% chance I'm like saying that she didn't happen. I just wanted to see the article. Because she says friend. I think I put that in my notes too, even. Kara. That's funny. Okay. I'm gonna go through my notes again. Where were we at? Yeah, okay. So shoot, yeah, Ashley, if you want to send that link to my phone, that'd be great. So I can read it later. I'll read it later or whatever. But that's crazy. Why are you talking about Ocean Gate without me? Serious? Now I want to look in the chat. Dang it. Okay, I'm going back to this page so I don't look in the chat. That Titan crap, I love that stuff. Man, it's scary what our oceans have in them. It terrifies me. We went over that case actually, or that, okay, it's not even a case, that incident when it happened. And it was, if you want to see some raw reaction, that's me in raw form. So, wow. Because I put right here, she mumbles our friend, like a friend did it. Because I wasn't sure like if a friend did it or what. But there's a document about this. Oh, about that. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, I was just keeping her name out of this because it was just I felt like everybody else was putting her name out there and they were just saying really mean things about her. Like I'll just tell you what I hear and what I hear and what I think, but I'm not going to be like mean. Like these people were like going after her looks. One creator was like, I think she's a woman. Maybe she's a woman. I'm not sure if she's a woman. Like, dude, have you seen yourself? Don't smile and make sure you stay away from that camera far back like you have been this whole time. You don't get too close. You don't open that mouth up all the way. Man, I'll be right back. I'll be mean right back to them. You should actually, I was on one earlier. She probably thought I wasn't on the phone because I would have been cussing up a storm. I was like, I'm fired up. I listened to like 50 seconds of a video. So she did say, she asked who her husband was and she said who he was. And I think she said something about like he was shopping at the time. That's just terrible. I mean, I couldn't imagine seeing my husband pumped with bullets 9 times. Oh my God. No wonders why she acts the way she does. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she's probably been on something maybe to not numb the pain if that's what she, I mean, we never know. We don't know. Or could be trauma. she's experiencing. So this is when she drops the bomb. And this is the only thing in this video. I listened to I read the transcripts, I read the closed captioning, and I listened. And when I tell you I listened, I was pausing every 2 seconds. Like I wasn't letting anything divert my attention from it. And she says this, and this is the only thing that I heard with my ears from this video that was about the Idaho murders and happened to do with her, right? But she says, and then now I have to testify too. So yeah, because I'm a driver. So yeah. And then the lady says, you have to testify in which murder? And she says, MM says murder case for the college girls. And she says, and yeah, and when she was talking to this, this nurse or doctor or psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever she was, like, you know, I'm looking at you now, we're having a conversation. So imagine if, you know, the camera, like you are, you know, the nurse, she was like in the chair and she was like to the side of it and she was like this. Like, so you weren't hearing much down there, you know, when her head is like between her legs pretty much the whole time. And then whenever she was like sitting up, she had her arms wrapped. And I did notice that. And that's a way of like comforting yourself. So yeah, she probably was trying to comfort herself in a way. Wonder if she knew like then, if she probably didn't even know then, this video would be all over the internet. And then she says, do you think it's because of all of this? This is the lady talking, that it could make you appear that you were on something. And she said, I have no idea. She asked how long she had been taking the pain meds. She said since her husband was killed. Thought that was worth noting. She asked how long since she took it. She said this afternoon, but she had told the cop earlier in the video, like whenever she got pulled over, that she took it with her morning meds. So that's a little bit of an inconsistency. But then she asked some health questions. But the one that stuck out was, who is the doctor that you work with? Meaning like, who is your, you know, primary doctor? Who's the guy that's prescribing you your medications and like all the things, right? And she said her doctor retired. She said she is trying to find another doctor. And then after that, basically, they took her, they fingerprinted her, they took her picture, and they let her go, pretty much. Like, they took her property and everything. I thought they for sure was going to, like, you know, I thought for sure they were just going to, like, you know what I mean, go put her in the holding cell, take her back to the jail, because that's what they do in Ohio. And then when I listened to Drunk Turkey today, he said that's what they do, and I believe he's from Texas. I did get through about half of his video, and I was agreeing with everything he was saying. And he was playing parts of the video, but he didn't have to like keep their watermark or anything in it, which was good, because I don't want to promote that channel over here on this channel, because it's just be crazy out there. And now my algorithms are all nuts. I don't even want to know. I have to go over there at the end of the live and show you guys. Let me pull up Drunk Turkey while we're talking. Or Daniel. I don't know what's this show going to be called if he doesn't have his buddies with him anymore. DT show, I guess. It's kind of weird. I'm not all being up there. Okay, so I'm going to start this. He gets kind of right into it. Let me see.
Welcome to all the news.
Okay. We'll go up a little bit more.
I want to thank you guys, great members, with the DoorDasher. And
okay, I think I have it sped up from earlier. Because I didn't have it sped up until like 10 or like 15 minutes, I think, before I had to come on. I was like, man, I need to speed this thing up. So this is Drunk Turkey. I'll put his video in the channel link for everybody, so that way you can go over there and subscribe to his channel. He follows and does Idaho 4 content, obviously. and he's going to tell us a little bit what he thinks about this video that came out, and he's going to show us clips of the video so you guys will be able to see, like, you know, what I've been talking about, and we'll get his point of view on it. Now, he's been pretty good friends with Mr. Gonzalez. He's had him on his show a few times. So, you know, I'll take him at his word. I think that he actually is the one that comes out and says that the DoorDasher saw some stuff that night, and he has an inside source. So that'll be his source, not mine. So I'll let him do all that talking. But if you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll pause it here and there whenever, you know, we need to for commentary. And I'll put his link up to his video in the chat, of course. So yeah, he finally said it again today, Betsy. I was wondering, like, I knew he was an officer somehow in some sort of capacity, but I didn't know if he had just like graduated from the academy and never was like an officer. But then he says something in here where he like, it makes it sound like, no, like he was like, he's not anymore. No, don't quote me. I don't know if this is what it is. Maybe his eyesight is why he's not anymore. This is just me. I swear. This is just me, like, just wondering. Like, I'm just spitballing, because I mean, that's why, like, I can't do things in my field, you know, that I wanted to do. So you can't look at tiny specks and you can't even like vacuum. I can't even vacuum seal bags or anything, right? Vincent's like, just let me do it. What was that? He did something today. What was it? I don't even know. It was something simple. And he's like, you can't do this. I'm like, no, I can't see it.
I wanted to give you guys an honest and true report of it and some interesting subscribers and our members.
There we go.
Well, today I got I want to say a good video for you guys. You know, there's been some interesting stuff that's been thrown around as of recent, and it has to do with the DoorDasher. And I wanted to give you guys an honest and true report of what exactly happened and an opinion of what is going on in this scenario. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. You guys know what to do. With that being said, let's get on with the show. So first thing I wanted to talk about is this part of the document that references the DoorDasher. This says here, this is a supplement disclosure, and this was from, I believe, the defense, stating that the disclosure states that there are 49 devices and digital data sets that this witness will testify, and there is no connection between Mr. Kohberger and any of the following individuals: MM, KG, XK, EC, DM, BF, JD, JS, MM, and then it's a DoorDasher is in parentheses, and then it's EGEA, and the rest of the witness testimony will be about other download devices. So, witness testimony, but there's no connection between these guys, but there are witnesses to this case. Now, for those that have been watching the channel for some time, have known that I've talked about the DoorDasher for probably almost 2 years now. I told you guys, you know, that I had gotten contacted right around the time before, maybe, Brian Kohberger's.
We have a poll somewhere where I polled you guys, do you think that Brian was the DoorDash or something like that? I'm going to see if I can find that poll.
Arrest was. And then I got some information about a DoorDasher, much like I got a lot of information about a bunch of things that I wasn't sure about. Like, I made the statement where me and the guys, Blue and Jaime, when we're talking about the Brian Kohberger case, we got information that one of the surviving roommates saw somebody in the house with a mask and a large knife. We didn't buy it. I'll be honest with you. We didn't buy it. We thought somebody would have called 911. And then Brian Kohberger gets arrested, and the arrest affidavit comes out, and sure enough, somebody sees him in the house. Well, this was kind of the scenario too. Somebody told me something about a DoorDasher. I was like, I don't know. And then the arrest comes out. There's a DoorDasher in there. And then this person makes contact with me again, tells me a lot of information about herself, you know, her phone number, address, things of that nature, stuff that you wouldn't expect somebody to say about themselves if they were.
If a YouTube creator ever asks for your cell phone number, your telephone number, your address, don't give it to Yeah, they don't need that. They don't. No.
We're lying. But I don't know. But she was not the DoorDasher herself. She was a close person to the DoorDasher. And today I'll read what she said about what the DoorDasher had seen. She did describe the DoorDasher to me, and it appears to be accurate. So we'll talk about that, guys. That has been something that I've been talking about for a while. I don't break things until things are broken. You know what I'm saying? So, but real quick, Arizona Ghost comes up with $4.99 saying, "Hello, everyone. Sending love from sunny Tucson, Arizona. Thank you for your coverage on this important case. May justice be served." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. TCF has been a member for 4 months. And we have Warning Label Nina as a member for 7 months. How's it going? How's it going? Thank you, guys. Welcome. So I'm not going to play the video, not all of it at least, but there was an arrest, and I believe it's a DUI arrest. And the person who's arrested has the initials MM. I'm not going to expose who she is, but she has the initials MM as well. And she identifies as being the DoorDasher during her conversation with law enforcement. Now I'm just going to play a little bit of clips here and there. We'll play the video. I'll give you guys my opinion on the stop.
I'm going to pause them for just a second because I just want to tell you guys now. You'll see if you're very observant, and I know y'all are. So I'm going to say it before, because he doesn't pick up on it, but he picks up on the time. So the timestamp right now, if you look up in the top right hand corner, the date reads 9/5/2024. So September 5th, 2024, right? Well, here in a second, he's going to go over to another video, and she's inside the jail. So it's later on, but it's not a whole day later on or a whole day earlier. The time in that upper corner is going to change to, sorry, 9/4. So September 4th. So apparently this body cam that this woman is wearing is off by a day. Like it's supposed to read 9/4 and it's reading 9/5. Does that make sense? It'll make sense in a moment. Just look up here where it says 9/5 and then it'll change to 9/4. But I did hear it. And when I listened to it, I listened to that whole video. Like I said, she does say the date on there. So
I think it was, for those that say I always side with law enforcement, you'll be pleasantly surprised on this one. And then we'll talk about what I think this will mean, if anything, for the case. But this stop happened September 4th, 2024 in Pullman, Washington, right? Now, first thing I want you guys to notice, and this is the first thing that kind of caught my eye, is the time. It says T21444 something Z. And it also says September 5th, not September 4th, but it is September 4th. I just want to let you guys know that that's the first thing that caught my attention right away.
Maybe I missed that. He did get it.
Now, she gets pulled over, and she does somewhat of a standardized field sobriety test. She really doesn't. She's got some arthritic stuff, dislocation joints, or joints that have been known to be dislocating, things of that nature that prevent her from doing like the walk and turn or the one-legged stand. She does do horizontal gaze and nystagmus. She does do she does this weird one. I've never seen it before, where you lean back and you have to count in your head 30, I guess, and then whenever you get to the 30-second range, you look forward, and that's supposedly some sort of indication of intoxication. I'm not familiar with that standardized field sobriety test. It's not used in Texas, so I can't tell you much about that one, but that one seemed kind of weird. Now, she admitted to have taken a 10 milligram hydrocodone pill, a pain pill, earlier in the day, much earlier in the day, and that she had also taken some cold medicine earlier in the day. Now, the video that I saw that referenced this said that meth was found. There was no meth found, none whatsoever. But, a lot of people were indicating that she looked kind of odd, her actions and her behavior. And it appears, though, that she's been through quite a bit of trauma. Not only is she a witness that's going to be called in for against Brian Kohberger, but she also witnessed the murder of her husband or boyfriend. I can't remember which one, but it was her significant other who was shot multiple times in front of her. And so she's gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of things. But she indicates that she, at one point throughout the day, she did take a 10 milligram hydrocodone that is prescribed to her. And she, during the conversation, she does contact her boyfriend, her current boyfriend, because the truck that she is driving belongs to him, and she's calling to him to come pick up the truck and to inform him that she is getting arrested, obviously. And during that time, the officers are looking in the back and they're like, are those your drugs? Are these your drugs? Or whatever the case. She's like, there's no drugs in there. There's no drugs. Now, she was arrested, from what I can tell, is for DUI and not possession of any narcotics or anything like that. And so while she was on the phone with her significant other, she mentions that Jordan is the person that pulled her over. Again, now, during this conversation that she has with officers inside of the precinct, she mentions that Jordan had pulled her over before, and she has a previous DWI arrest. And so that's just kind of catching everybody up to speed, so to speak, on everything here. Now, one thing that I did notice is, yes, she is moving around a lot. She is hyperventilating. She's breathing heavily. But that is consistent from the time that she is pulled over to the time that she is released, which is a question mark for me, because she is released. And typically when you are arrested for drugs or you're arrested for DWI, it's above a Class C misdemeanor. You typically have to see a magistrate to end up getting out of jail. You don't get released.
Thank you, Pretty Hate Machine. I'm actually going to let you, that was perfect timing. Pretty Hate Machine said, can't wait for trial. I don't know where I was reading there. I can't wait for the trial, but don't want any summertime to pass too fast either. Yes, me neither. You're welcome. I know. I'm like, enjoy the summer. I've been out there in the sun, if you can't tell. Your girl gotten a lot darker. I haven't been out. I wasn't out today. It was like rainy and crappy today. Okay, so I looked up the Idaho law. So after a DUI arrest, it says you may or may not need to see a judge before being released from jail, depending on the circumstances. Now, the circumstances in her case is her second one. She should have been held. She got lucky. Like, I don't know why they didn't. I mean, I don't know why they didn't hold her. Because it says that for like the first DUI, it says you might be released after being booked, receiving a citation with a court date, and potentially posting bail. And that's what she did. She was released after being booked. She received her citation and she left with like her court date. But it says down here, like, if factors that influencing the process, it says a prior DUI record or other criminal history can lead to a judge requiring a hearing before release and setting a higher bail amount. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, they do keep you. They're supposed to. Oh, thank you, Ari.
Released on your own recognizance.
You could tell I've been outside.
Which she was, and she was released close to midnight, which is another concern of mine. But let's look at this. So I
hope her boyfriend was there to pick her up. Like, I hope she did have her cell phone. She didn't want to take her phone like that. You know what I mean? I'm so glad that lady cop was like, take your phone.
This is her back at the station. Now, if you notice, the time up here is September 4th. So this is the current time at 19:47. So this is military hours. So this is roughly 7:47 p.m. in the afternoon or in the evening. So 7:47, the next officer that talks to her is just right around the next couple of minutes. It is back to the tea time and it's 3:23. So if this is around 7 o'clock, 7:47, and I'm assuming maybe now closer to 8, if the the minutes is correct, then that should tell you that the traffic stop that happened at 2:14 tea time was probably closer to about 6 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Probably closer to 6. It does look like the sun is somewhat setting.
This was 7 because I remember them saying it was 7. At 2:19 equals 7. It was like 7 p.m. Yeah.
So probably closer to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. That's important, right? So it goes back to this tea time of 3:23. So if this tea time of 3:23, and that is 7:47, so we can assume that this is probably about 8:23 p.m. And this is when she is talking to the officer and answering some questions. And then she starts speaking to another officer. This officer here is to go over some of the drugs and things. The previous officer, let me go back one, does a breathalyzer test and some other preliminary questions. She then speaks to another officer. Now this is 4:13, so about an hour later. So this is about 9:13 in the afternoon or in the evening. And this officer hears where she starts talking about, you know, some of her trauma and the things that she's had to go through, some of her medical history, you know, never veering away from the behavior that she was distributing at the traffic stop with the other two officers. All of them is the same. She really doesn't make any eye contact. She's looking around. She's hyperventilating. She's breathing heavy. So could those be a sign of intoxication? Maybe. Now, I also did not see the stop. I do not know why Jordan pulled this person over. You know, if was she driving erratic? Did she run a stop sign? Did she, you know, were there multiple infractions that would have made somebody allude to that their driving was impaired by alcohol? Possibly, but I don't know that aspect. So here's where she's referencing, you know, Brian Kohberger and some of the other trauma that she's had to go through. And then she gets released. Now, this is at a different body cam. And if you notice, it's still the 24th of September. Now it is 11:34. So this is close to midnight. What person gets arrested for drugs and gets released on their own recognizance in the middle of the night?
They do in Idaho.
You get what I'm
Weird.
saying?
I think it's weird too. And if you come from a state where they don't, that just like does not happen in Ohio. I think it'd be weird, but I mean, I looked up the state, and the states there in Idaho, they do. They will send you home with a citation, which they shouldn't have, because this was her second offense. She should have been kept overnight and seen the judge in the morning. Maybe she wouldn't be, I mean, whatever she was doing, if she was drugging and driving, or if she was just driving bad in general, you know, maybe it would put a stop to that.
What person gets arrested for drugs and gets released in the middle of the night? And the next thing they also inform her is the fact that she blew zeros across the board. Now, her demeanor and her behavior, again, look, I ain't going to show her or her face. I'm not going to dox her. She's not looking at the officer. This is now 6-7 hours later. She's in jail. She's in custody. There's no way. I mean, she's been searched. They have video of her being searched and stuff. She's not still under the influence of anything. And yet she's still acting and behaving in the same manner. She was answering every question that the officers gave. They were fluent answers. There were answers right away. There weren't answers that took a minute or a second to think about and then respond to me.
No, but you couldn't understand her. Like, if you weren't watching the closed captioning, you weren't going to understand what she was saying at all. Like, not at all.
Me, I think she was just,
because she was facing like the other direction. Do you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't facing towards the lady, so you just couldn't hear her.
Through a lot, just hyperventilating. She went through an arrest before, so she's probably freaking out because she had a DWI arrest already. This is a second one. I mean, there's a lot of factors or indicators, but to say that this woman's on drugs or that she got arrested for drugs or any of these other things is just unfathomable. She got released.
Well, she did get arrested for a DUI, and they said it was for drugs. I heard that on the video. Like, 2 cops said that. So that part, she did get arrested for that. I don't know if they found something in her car. I'm not saying that they did. I'm not saying that she's on anything. I'm just saying what I heard from the officers.
At 11.
And I can probably get that timestamp if I needed to.
34 at night.
Let me look that up.
So take that for what it is. You know, in my experience as an officer, when somebody got arrested for a narcotic that was well, all of them are above a class B or above, you had to see a magistrate. Now, Idaho could be very different.
Now, could it be residue in the car? It could have been residue, because they charged her with a DUI. And let me go back to what I wrote it out as, because it's so crazy what the charge is. Like, I want to read the actual whole charge. It's they charged her with driving or being in actual physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and or drugs. And when she was in there, the woman cop was sitting with her. There's a male cop that comes in the room, and he says, like, something like, "What's she in for? Alcohol or drugs?" And the female cop says drugs. So I'm just going off what I heard.
In Texas, 100%.
And I watched that video twice. And I watched the first half of that video twice, and then the whole video I watched the one time, but I was listening like this. and reading the closed captioning and trying to make sure I heard everything.
In Texas, there are two different charges, right? You have DUI and DWI. Now, DWI is driving while under the influence of alcohol, or driving while intoxicated. I'm sorry. DUI is driving.
I just told you exactly what they charged her with, though.
Under the influence of alcohol. Now, typically, minors get the DUI. The DUI in Texas is a Class C misdemeanor. The DWI is a Class B misdemeanor if it's your first offense. Now, if you are somebody who's a lightweight, who can get intoxicated fairly easily, and it impairs your driving, let's just say you are somebody who is young, doesn't have a lot of history drinking alcohol, weighs a significant, not very much weight, really small, tiny, petite person, and you go out there and consume a couple of alcoholic beverages, and let's just say you blow 0.07, you wouldn't be, and you go out there and your driving is impaired. You swerving, you run some stop signs, you run a red light. So you have more than one infraction to indicate that your driving is impaired due to the intoxication level. You can still arrest that person for DUI, for driving under the influence of alcohol. And that is a Class C misdemeanor in the state of Texas. And you don't have to see a magistrate. You can PR bond. You can have somebody go in there and pull you out, or whatever the case may be. So I think because she blew zeros, they didn't do any blood test on her. The medication probably was prescribed to her, because had it not.
And I think that's weird too, that they didn't do any blood test on her, since they did one. They have one coming back. Do you know what I mean? Like, why didn't they do another one? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know when they picked her for the first DUI, but they said, I mean, it was just recent. It was just recent to this one, because they were waiting on the blood test to come back for that one. And she got the second one, and the blood test hadn't come back for the first one yet. So these must have been pretty close together.
Been prescribed, she would have then been arrested and charged for possession of a controlled substance, which is not a Class C misdemeanor, which is something that you would have to go and see a judge for. So all this for somebody to say, we found meth,
that's stupid.
Was outrageous. And what do you expect from people that defend murderers, to be honest with you? So her demeanor and attitude never changed. I don't know if she was under the influence of alcohol or if these drugs impaired her driving or not. I didn't see her driving, but the fact that they let her go so late in the afternoon probably means that they didn't have much on her.
Well, that and it's Idaho law, but I don't know why they didn't. I'm thinking maybe it was like some residue or something, because I'm just trying to read into it, and it says that's just a misdemeanor. So like they would let you out of jail for that. I just don't know why they would charge her with a DUI without knowing for sure.
And, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she saw the officer, maybe did swerve or something, got scared. Maybe, in Texas, when you get arrested for DWI, they take your license away. If you blow and you blow over, they take your license away.
That's how it is in Ohio.
So either way, you get your license taken away if it's something that you're charged for, and you have to go through a bunch of stuff. And so I don't know how it is in Idaho if you get your license taken away on your first offense right away before you've been convicted or not. But maybe that's something that could have, frightened her. Again, that's something that I think they would have charged her with, driving while license suspended or something of that nature. But no, she was not on meth. She was on 10 milligrams of hydrocodone, and which she has prescribed for her arthritis and something about her dislocated joints. Again, could she be lying about that? 100%. But if she didn't have those prescribed to her, if those were the medications that they found in her vehicle and she was not prescribed them, then they would have arrested her for possession of a controlled substance, and they didn't. So I don't know. I didn't see her driving behavior. I didn't see, why she was pulled over. So I can't comment on whether or not her driving appeared to be impaired. Her talking with officers, the trauma and stuff could have been perceived as being impaired. I 100% get that, and I 100% understand that. But the fact that they released her at close to midnight after she blew zeros, probably a big indication that they dropped the charge down to a misdemeanor C, or what would be equivalent to a Class C misdemeanor in Idaho, which you could get out on her own. Now, let's listen to what she said.
When was that? Who was your husband?
Charles McMichael. He shot me with it.
And
And now I have to testify. Big part of his too. So yeah, because I'm the DoorDash driver. So yeah.
you have to testify in which murder?
Murder case with college girl.
Oh.
I'm a DoorDash driver. I suffer.
I don't think this has anything to do with anything, but she does make it plural. She says college girl. I don't know why she does it, like put an S on that, but it's probably just the way she talks.
It's very hard to hear, you know, with all the noise in the background. I try to bring down the background noise as much as I could without it affecting her voice. What she says is that her husband was murdered in front of her, shot 9 times, and she went through that trauma. And then now she's also testifying. And what she's testifying to is that she's the DoorDash driver in the Brian Kohberger case. She says she saw Brian and that he was right next to her. Now, I wanted to read something to everybody that was sent to me a while ago. And again, I don't break things until things come out that are a little bit that I have corroborating evidence, so to speak, right? And so this is one of them. I'm not going to say who this person is or anything, but she goes on to say that she works with somebody who's a friend, very close friend, who is the DoorDash driver. She's a middle-aged woman who specifically remembers seeing the white vehicle pass by the house a number of times in a short period of time in which she was at the house. As she was walking to the house and she looked up, the driver of the car was looking at the home and her as a drive-by, and it was a male who was later identified by her friends.
I'm gonna go back a little bit because this is important. So this is going to be him. He's going to be reading from his phone. We need to tell Daniel that he can make his text to like large print. I do. Mine are on large. I think everything's on large on my phone. He might be able to see it better because like in part of the video, he says like it's like the text is short or small. So maybe that would help him. But yeah, so he's going to read like, this was pretty shocking to me. So apparently she saw some things.
By her, hold on, let me read this again. This is kind of far away. All righty. So as she was walking to help me all to leave, the white car once again was passing the house, and she looked up and the driver of the car was looking at the home.
So basically she, like what he's reading is somebody's telling him that this lady, the DoorDash driver, told them that, or this is, I'm not sure if this is the DoorDash driver, if this is a friend, but is telling Daniel that she enters the King Road, neighborhood, and she sees this car going, past the location, making rounds around the location.
And her as a drive-by, and it was a male who was later identified by her as a friend over her. When he's seen the car pass by, that honestly, that kind of is confusing to me, but when he's seen the car pass by the house into the direction, he was looking into the direction of the house, and she noticed at the same time the light on the second floor of the home was on, and the female was in a window watching the car drive by as well. There you go. I missed the sentence. Sorry about that.
So apparently what I gathered from that was Brian Kohberger was driving by and he was looking up at the house, and at the same time she was going there, to deliver the food, and she saw, what appeared to be a girl standing in the window. And what I would think would be, that would be Xana.
About that, guys. It's a small print. Alrighty, so let me reread this. A girl was very close friends with the DoorDasher. She's a middle-aged woman who specifically remembers seeing a white vehicle pass by the house a number of times in a short period of time in which she was at the house. She was
okay, so she saw the vehicle going around, in the short period of time that she was at the house. She saw the vehicle, going around in circles or whatever.
Walking to help me at all to leave. See, that one's kind of confusing. I'm not sure what she's trying to say there. The white car once again was passing the house. She looked up and the driver of the car was looking at the home and her. As they drive by, and it was a male who was later identified by her as friends over her. I'm not sure what she was saying that, but
So right there, like she said that Brian looked at her and she looked at him, and he still had the nerve to go into the house. Ballsy, right? I mean, not only are there like a handful of cars in the driveway to where you can barely park in the driveway, but you don't know if any of the cars that are parked in the back of the house are, people that are in the house. And you see this other car come by you and they're looking at you and you're looking at them. I'm assuming he wasn't wearing the balaclava at that point. I just think that, wow. What if he was?
she meant by that. When he seen the car pass by the house, cut her looking into the direction of the house, and she noticed at the same time that the light on the second floor of the home was on and the female was in the window, watching the car drive by as well. After the car disappeared, she remembers the person in the second floor window turned and made eye contact with her and then walked away from the window. She drove away. I don't think anything of it until the next time. So basically what she was trying to say, and I did make contact with this person at one point, and she explained it a lot better when we were on the phone. But basically what she had said was the DoorDasher got there, had seen the light on in the second floor window where Xana was at. And she could see Xana, but she didn't know who Xana was. She just could see a female. And then she saw a white car pass her and then come back around and pass her again. And when she passed her, that the person inside the car was so focused into the house and into the home that they didn't even see her out there. And that she apparently saw what the guy looked like. He wasn't wearing a mask. He wasn't doing any of those things. He was at that time looking, like intensely at the house, and that there was a light on. I had often said this, and this in part was one of the reasons why I said this, but I said that to me, where Xana or where all of them live, the King Road residents, it was 122 King Road. But even if you look at like the body cam footage for the 911 calls and the loud music calls, those were for Queen Road. So it's confusing if you're not from the area, and this woman's not from the area. And I also mentioned that given the time,
I think I was confusing you guys the other night. Last night when I was talking about it, I was like, man, I'm probably confusing them because I kept saying king and then queen and then king and then queen. But hey, drunk turkey, I didn't know you were in here. I'm sorry. I'm blind as a bat. Are bats really blind? But yeah, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to. This is a good video. Thanks for putting it out. A couple of us are actually, fighting against this.
A day,
poor lady,
in which the DoorDash driver dropped off the food. Given the time of night that was, or 4 o'clock in the morning, that told me this was an older person. It was also on a Sunday morning. Typically, your younger people are out partying in those type of situations and time of night. So I referenced that before, but I had mentioned that because of its confusion, there must have been an indicator, a light on, something to tell the DoorDasher this is where the house is at. And you can't pick your DoorDasher. I know a lot of people, when they saw the MM initials, they were like, oh my God, it's this guy that lives over here because he's friends on social media with somebody else. So what they did was they took the MM and they went through the victim's friends and looked for somebody that had the initials MM.
No way.
And like, oh my God, we found them. You can't pick your DoorDasher. It's impossible. Yeah. And so
they were doing that back in the beginning, even when people thought Brian Kohberger was the DoorDasher.
Well, anyways, so to me, there must have been some indicator. That is the reason why I believe that Brian Kohberger, or the Intruder, whoever you want to call him, for those that still disbelieve, drove around multiple times. Whether you believe it's Brian Kohberger or not, I don't think any of this points actually at Brian Kohberger at this point. Now, maybe perhaps she is able to identify him through some sort of lineup or something of that nature. That would be great. I don't know, if she has or hasn't. That would be a huge nail in the coffin if that ended up being the case. But she says here in this interview, and it kind of correlates with what I was told years ago, multiple years ago, that they came side by side, the DoorDasher and Brian Kohberger, and she was right next to him. And she said in this interview, I saw Brian, he was right next to me. I'll try to play it one more time so you guys can kind of hear, but it's very difficult to understand.
I didn't hear that part.
It starts off with her talking about her husband getting shot.
Well, see, I didn't hear anything about that
What was
part.
that? Who was your husband?
Charles Michael, you shot me.
What did she say when her voice inflected right there? See, I didn't hear her there. Like right when she like first starts talking.
That.
Like right there, I couldn't understand that. I don't think my closed captioning was picking that up. Oh, hold on. Before he comes up here, let me let the dogs up. Or let the dogs up. Let me let the dogs up on stage before I let him up. Yeah, that's not what I meant. But I'll put the link in the chat. And I'm going to let the dogs in the room because they're going to be bothering. So hold on one second. Your sister's not coming in? Okay. Want to show everybody you? Oh, you left already. Oh. One dog came in, so one dog. See, I couldn't hear her whenever she like went up like that. I will say that I didn't catch that part. Oh, she's over by the door. That dog's crazy.
Who was your husband?
Charles Michael, you shot me.
And
now I have to testify. Take part in his tears, so yeah, because I'm the DoorDash driver, so yeah.
you have to testify in which murder?
Murder case with college girl.
Oh.
I'm a DoorDash driver, I saw Brian.
Right there. I don't know. Is it at the end?
Okay.
Yeah, she says, I saw Brian. I was right next to him.
Wow.
And so based on what I was
ears.
told years ago, where the DoorDasher friend, I'll leave the relationship out of it. The DoorDasher's friend, acquaintance, colleague, family member, whatever you want to say, that Brian Kohberger had driven right past her.
We did hear
And that
that.
they
I think, in
had,
the early.
she had seen him.
Hello. Can you
Hey,
hear
how's
me?
it going? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll get you off this one off the screen. The other you off the screen. We were watching your video. It was really good. I got like halfway through it because I was trying to watch the first video, the actual stop, and I was trying to listen, and you couldn't really hear her when she was talking. Like because she was like to the side and her head was kind of down and then up, and I'm like, I can't get her. So I was trying to put the closed captioning on and like the transcript. I'm like, what is this lady saying? And then I just was typing notes for like 3 hours, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I was like, I would rather go through the notes than send anybody over, over to like the person's page, because they're really going after this woman hardcore.
Yeah. So first and foremost, like, thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah.
I appreciate
welcome up.
that.
Welcome up. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, ma'am. And I was surprised by it. I got the video this morning, and I went through it, and I understand why officers would have assumed that she may have been under the influence of something.
Mm-hmm.
She even mentioned that she took hydrocodone at some point in the day.
Yeah.
My argument was that I don't think it's going to stick. The reason being is because it was an expired tag. So, just like alcohol, somebody could drink alcohol, and if they don't blow, you have to rely on the evidence that you have. And if somebody swerves or somebody does something, that's not necessarily a sign of intoxication. There's got to be other evidence. And if she got pulled over for a tag, and because of their conversation, and she's hyperventilating, they feel that that's the case. I just don't think it's going to stick. Much less.
I think she was definitely scared. Like when she was wanting to be on the phone with her boyfriend, I felt bad for her. Like I was like, in the same, like I was like wanting her to put the phone down. I'm like, just put the phone down. But at the same time, I was like, hold the phone. I know you like I know you're probably stressing out. And then, then come to find out she drops all those bombs in the, saying like, her husband was shot 9 times in front of her. And then right after that, it was like, and then this, and I was like, what did I just hear? So I had to I had to go back a couple of times.
Yeah. And it didn't air out the way I have it on my phone. So I have a program on my phone that helps me denoise some things and pick up audio. And when I was listening to it on my phone with my headphones, doing everything, I can hear what she says a lot more clear. And when I try to play it, it was not the same. I was like, what happened? And so to me, what I hear her say is, I'm going to be testifying in the for the college girl murders. And then she mentioned something about that she saw Brian, and she says, I was next to him. And I got a message a while ago. I'm talking about right around the time Brian Kohberger got arrested. I have to go back and look at the exact date. I just took a screenshot of it earlier when I was trying to read the deal online.
Yeah.
I could tell that the person that was writing to me was really nervous because they had some errors in some of the things that they were writing. But what she had told me was she identified who she was. She gave me her name, her phone number, her address, a bunch of identifying information. And she told me she was close with the DoorDasher, and that she's been staying low key, but that what she had basically told her was that she went out there, and that when she pulled up, there was a light on at the house, and that there was a girl in the window, and that a vehicle had passed by, and that when the vehicle had came back around, that the guy nearly had his head out the window. Like he was so intensely looking at the window that he didn't even notice her there. Now, I don't think she was able to identify Brian Kohberger. Basically, I was thinking about it as I was coming on. That would have been in the PCA. You would have tried to have gotten that lineup before his arrest, before the world knew who he was. And so I don't think she was able to identify him, but I do think she saw a male, and and it was dark, somebody inside of their vehicle. But what she was able to see was it was a man just intensely focused in on the house, and that the DoorDasher, and the girl in the window kind of made eye contact, and then the girl in the window went down, and she took off.
Yeah, like she noticed I was the car coming to give her food. So it was probably Xana waiting for her food. And then, she probably saw the car and wanted to beat her to the door, or, meet her at the door. Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I talked to this lady. She gave me a lot of information about herself. I gave that information to the Gonzalez family. And I knew that information was already with law enforcement. So and there was no really need to re-report that, you know what I mean? Because it was in the PCA that the DoorDasher had self-reported.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like about everything going on is that there is some sort of implication that this lady had meth in her vehicle, and that's far from the truth.
I know. I heard that from multiple creators, and I'm like, I got 56 seconds into one video, and I was livid because Ashley in my chat sent it to me. She sent me that video. Or she actually told me about it. So I think maybe she saw your live first, or maybe watched both. But she sent me, she was talking about it. I said, I don't know why she should have just sent me that video link. She knew I was going to ask. Because I said, is there a video link to this? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Like the DoorDashers, what? And people were like, because she was like, people are going after her. Like, they shouldn't be doing this. And I think Ashley came to me too, because I've been like through a lot of trauma. So I can kind of, relate to that lady going through some trauma. And I don't know how I would react if a cop had pulled over. I'd probably be a mess too, a ball of nerves shaking and, just be nervous. I said
Yeah.
she might have had prior drug usage, like maybe years of it. We don't know. And maybe she's off of it. We don't know. But her body just was, I mean, she had like trauma or something in her body. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think that it was drugs.
Yeah.
They said they were arresting her for the DUI, and they said, did you hear the it was like DU? Oh, I have to find. Okay, so they charged her with driving or being in actual physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicating liquor and or drugs. I've never
Yeah.
heard of it like that. That broad. Like, I mean, it's usually like driving while impaired, driving under the
Right.
influence. So, and it did say in Idaho that sometimes they'll let you with the DUI. They'll let you.
Well, this was in Washington.
That's our second one. Oh, it's in Washington. Never mind. I thought this was
Yeah.
in Idaho for some reason. I just looked
No,
up
no,
Idaho
no.
law.
No,
But
it's Pullman,
well, then
Washington.
never mind. Yeah, they did 'cause they told her to go to Pullman for the court date. I don't know why I
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
Yeah. To
So she
me,
should have been in jail.
right. She would have been in jail. The thing is, like, if there was
That is
drugs
weird.
in the back of that car, right? And I know some of those that are, saying that it was drugs will probably point out and say, well, it was her boyfriend's car or boyfriend's truck, so they wouldn't have arrested her. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, you don't think people have used that excuse before? This ain't my
Yeah.
car. This ain't my
Yeah.
truck.
Well, as soon as he said, "Was this in the back seat or something?" Like, I think he was just
Yeah.
like playing with her, which he shouldn't have been playing with her like that. She's already
Yeah.
high anxiety, and you're like saying, "What are these drugs in the back?" Or you know what I mean? And she was
Yeah.
like, "What?" And you could tell, like, sincere. She was sincere in that moment, I believe. Like, she was literally like shook. She was like,
I-
"What do you mean?" And then she was like, she said something that I just remember her hands. Like, in my opinion, she literally did look shook. Like, like you're not, because he said, "What's this mess in the back of your car?" Like, meaning like he found a whole bunch of stuff or something,
Right.
or he had
Yeah.
found something, you know what I mean, to allude, and that just made her even more panicked. In my opinion,
Yeah. I 100% agree. And, you know, it's, I understand why the officers believe that she was under the influence. I too would have been very suspicious of her behavior. Now, they did a horizontal gaze and nystagmus, which is the pen trick
I
to
thought she did
determine.
good.
I couldn't tell. I mean, you can't tell if her eyes are
Well, I couldn't
bouncing or
really.
not. I didn't
I
see
couldn't
her
tell if they were
head
bouncing.
move.
Yeah, I didn't see. Well, I didn't see her head do any of this. Did you see
Right,
her head move?
exactly. Not very much.
I didn't see much. Like, I didn't see it at all. If she did.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say if any, very little. So that's usually a tell right there that if
Mhm.
somebody you tell them, hey, I'm gonna move, follow my pen, move your
Yeah.
eyes, not your face, and they move their face. That's usually a pretty strong indication.
Yeah, no,
But
she didn't do that.
I couldn't tell if her eyes actually were bouncing or not.
They weren't.
The
Couldn't tell that. I could just kind of tell that it looked like they were moving to where they were supposed to go.
Exactly. And then, the walk and turn and the one-legged stand, those are common standardized field sobriety tests. Now,
Mhm.
I don't live in Washington, so I don't know if they have any other ones that are regulated or that are approved through the state. But in Texas, those are the only ones that are approved. But they did this one thing where they wanted her to look up, count to 30, and then look
Yeah.
back down. And I've never seen that before.
I
But
think
it's
anybody, and I mean, I think I'd get dizzy doing that.
yeah,
What do you want me
yeah,
to do? What? And she
yeah,
did it perfect.
yeah,
Like, to me, I was counting with her. She counted to 30. Like, I mean, we're counting about the same, I think. And she looked
yeah.
she looked right at that lady when because she wasn't good at making eye contact with the other lady as much, or the
Mhm.
cops as much inside. But when they told her to make eye contact or look right at me, she made sure she looked right at her, like
Yeah.
at that moment. So, I mean, she was able to do those tests. I
Yeah,
thought fairly well.
Yeah, she was able to do those tests, and in the end, like I said, I understand why she blew zeros. They end up pulling her
Mhm.
out just before midnight, and she still wasn't making a lot of eye contact. She wasn't as hyperventilating as she was
Yeah.
before, but she was still acting up. But she was also getting out. So
Yeah.
the fear and the threat and all that's probably coming down because of that.
Yeah.
If somebody is under the influence of a drug or alcohol, releasing them at midnight is usually not a good thing. Just
Yeah.
being honest. And so I strongly suspect that they told her she blew zeros. I know that she may have had some kind of drug in there, but
Mhm.
just because somebody takes a drug, you have to be impaired by that drug,
Yeah.
and you have to have evidence of that impairment, and an
Mhm.
expired tag is not an evidence of an impaired driving. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to stick.
That's
Um,
true.
that
'Cause I
that's
mean,
where that's where I was at. I was like, I'm not saying that she wasn't driving intoxicated or any of those things. I'm just saying, based on what I know from the law, I don't think it's going to stick. It's not going to stay. It's probably going to get dropped down even further.
I wonder if there's anything out there right now on it.
From what I've heard people say, that the only thing that she's been like charged with was the DWI and then the traffic violation, but she has no arrest from what I understand. I haven't looked into it myself, so I don't know, but some of the folks that are in my Discord, which I want to say hello to Sirius and Extreme Blonde, they're the ones that told me that this was happening and and to come check you out.
Thank you.
And so, in my Discord, they were telling me that they looked up her charges and there was nothing for possession. There's never been anything for possession or anything like that. Like I said,
you think she'd have a possession charge if she was really that bad off on drugs? Usually you get caught by a certain point. She's 45 by her, by the birth date. Or I was doing the math. I think she's like, that was like her age. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I just
and I
don't
get
like
it.
the way that people are like going after her. Like she's an eyewitness. She's, we don't even know if they're going to put her on the stand right now. They probably will. I mean, I don't see why they would. I don't know if she's going to have to go in there, but she might have wanted her identity to be like concealed at trial. Like Dylan and, Bethany, they may have theirs concealed maybe at trial, but now she doesn't have that option because she's here on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, someone got to you. Like, I mean, but it took over 2 years before, before I seen anything like this with her name or, a video about her or anything. This is the first time I've heard of it. So, I mean,
I agree. And, I know that somebody put out a video saying how they got her name and how they discovered her, and they were looking through the back doors of DoorDash. But I don't know. I'm very suspicious how this information got out.
I heard that too. And I was asking Ashley actually about that. And you reminded me because I was like, Ashley, where's the document that's going to tell me? Because I thought I was losing my mind. I thought maybe it's out there. Maybe it is out there. But I said that tells me that what the DoorDash's number is. Like DoorDash identification number 534358 or whatever, you know what I mean? Because if that would have been an illegal document, don't you think we have all looked that up? Because I looked through the legal documents and I couldn't find it today. Like when I went back through them, I was like going through the ones from previous years, and I only DoorDash I could find was just when they wanted Ethan and Xana's DoorDash records.
Exactly. And I haven't seen anything that would have identified who the DoorDasher is.
Yeah. I mean, I literally looked through almost every single document. Like I scrolled and was like, when they were doing like the redacting, of like Google and whatever, I was going through all those, like make sure it wasn't like hidden in there. I didn't see it. So
I'm very, very skeptical and suspicious on how that her name got out to certain people and for them to do a Freedom of Information Act to get her arrest stuff, because, this has nothing to do with Moscow. There's nothing to do with the murders and stuff like that. And yet, somebody had to have gotten tipped. And this isn't something that the prosecution would want out there. They don't want to invalidate the credibility of a witness that they plan on calling out. This is I'm not saying it's anybody that did this, but it just looks suspicious to me.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about too, like the timing of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just really weird, like, for this to be coming up. Because, like, the prosecution's trying to be, on their best behavior because of the Dateline episode and them thinking that they have a leak, the judge kind of thinking that it might be more the prosecution than the defense or whatnot. But then to have this come out, I mean, it doesn't look good. So, I mean, it would benefit Brian Kohberger. I think it could.
Maybe.
If people,
if they're waiting still on the other DWI stuff, right? That means it's pretty recent, which is probably another reason why she was freaking out. She just got arrested. She's probably like, oh my God, I'm back here. They're going to deny my bond. I'm going to stay in jail. I mean, there's a lot of things that are probably going through her mind, but, her testimony or her statement about what occurred that night happened almost over 2 years ago. So, unless it changes all of a sudden, it changes today and like, it was for sure Brian Kohberger or something like that. And the defense might have something to bring this up, but I don't know if they would be able to bring up something like this. I'd have to ask my lawyer friend.
Yeah, ask your lawyer. Yeah, ask your lawyer friend. Let me know. Google's my lawyer friend. That's why I'm like, I'm going to Google.
Yeah.
At least I'll
Yeah.
let people know where I'm going. Thanks, Ladybug, for the super chat. So thankful for this channel. I appreciate that. I have some questions. I just don't know what they are yet right now. I know I'm gonna have questions though. I can't believe you heard all that. I was going to. I told myself, I was like, put on some headphones, like just put in your headphones. I was like, no, you can hear it. And I'm over here like staring at the screen. I'm blind in one eye, so I'm like trying to look at the transcript and the closed captioning at the same time and hear. So I'm like constantly like I was like every 2 seconds I'm like pausing it. I probably should have watched your video and then went back, like did like a reversal, but I didn't do it that way because I got more info. But I saw a couple shorts on that one person's channel because I was over there like before I looked at the video, because I was like, I know I've heard this name and I'm pretty sure this person used to come in my chat like before, like this was probably like 2 years ago or more, like way, and I think we just had differencing of views. So that's why she's not in the chat anymore. But that it's just, but it's not like difference of a like point of views. I could deal with that. I mean, I love people that don't like think the same as me. But I feel like there's just like some of the stuff out there is just so far gone. It's like, come on, guys, let's bring it back in. Like if you guys don't, okay, if we think if we're going to say Brian's innocent, then we have to think that somebody smarter than Brian did this, because this takes somebody pretty smart, I think, to get away with it for for 6 weeks. Only leave a little bit of DNA. I think somebody with a criminology degree would do a good job in that. You'd have to think above that then. So, is this person like they're just smarter than 140 IQ? I don't know.
Well, I mean, one of the things that is commonly said in my chat is that, Brian Kohberger took his own car, took his phone with him, left the knife sheath. He made a bunch of dumb mistakes. They don't believe it was him. But I'm like, if he made so many dumb mistakes as you're pointing out, why are you so surprised he got caught?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's smart, he's intelligent, he's not perfect, he's not a robot. And somebody to want to commit a crime like this isn't wired right. Regardless of how intelligent that they are, they're still not wired right. And they're still going to do things that are wrong. They're still going to make mistakes. They're still narcissists. They still have these thoughts that are delusions of grandeur and things of that nature.
They think things are going to go smoother than what they are.
Correct. And just because he's intelligent doesn't mean that he's incapable of committing a crime. Ted Kaczynski is a guy that was considered a prodigy in his youth. And he ended up committing a violent crime himself. And so, and many others, but, it's sometimes the dumbest mistakes, like BTK, for instance. He was on a spree, and granted, he was in a time when DNA and technology probably isn't as strong as it is today, but, he had a long spree and they could not capture him. They could not catch him. And yet he made a dumb mistake by using a floppy disk after he asked law enforcement. So people make dumb mistakes, and
it was because he was getting cocky too.
Exactly.
He was getting that confidence in him. Yeah. And I'm ready for this trial. Are you going to be there? Are you going to go to the trial?
I plan on going towards the end of it. I want to be there for the closing arguments and deliberations and the verdict.
See, you're opposite of me. I like opening statements. But then I like opening, because then they usually tell you what's going to be going on. Like they give you pretty much like the case. I feel like what they're going to kind of lay out for you for trial. And I don't know. I just feel like you learn a lot during opening statements, but closing arguments and final deliberations would be good to go to.
Yeah.
Like if I could go for one day, I'd go for opening statements.
There you go. Yeah. I got to be strategic because there's a lot of things that are going on during that time. But yeah, I'm trying to get there for the end of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do plan on going there. I plan on streaming it. I plan on doing a bunch of things when it comes to the case. I'm going to stream the June 18th hearing that's coming up in I think next week. The continuance, which I think is going to be denied. Me personally, I think it's going to get denied.
That's what I've been saying too. I'm like, they didn't send out those subpoenas to Pennsylvania, Nevada for Bethany. Like they're not doing all that stuff just to have to say, oh, never mind. Like, just kidding. Like, we don't really need you. We're going to, what is it? She wants an indefinite continuance, it said.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, tell Steve Gonzalez that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be a continuance.
I don't either.
A lot of the things that she was arguing before the dateline, she had argued before for the death penalty to
Mhm.
be taken off the table, and the judge shot her down completely because, she
Yeah.
picked up another DP case. She picked up
Mhm.
she's not asked for help or any of
That's
those
what he
type of
was.
things.
Yeah, he's like, he even asked for any help. I mean, I understand her like OCD or whatever it is to look at everything, but you got
Mhm.
to be able to be like, just bring me the stuff of importance.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? You got to be able to put that job onto someone else when you're in that position. You're not
yeah.
in that role anymore where she could be like a Jay Logston or whatever, looking at all this stuff, and going through it. Like, what's he been doing? He's like
Yeah.
her counsel when he's sitting in the office. Is he going through evidence? I said this channel would have been through it all. I said if you
Yeah.
would have given it to us 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, we would have went through it. I said
Oh
we would
yeah.
have got through it.
Yeah, you
I
can go
think.
through things at faster speed than than just normal speed, especially because a lot of it is video evidence, from what I
Yeah,
understand. A lot of
that's what I'm assuming too.
yeah, that's what they make it appear to be when they talk about much of it being video surveillance evidence that's
Mhm.
outside of the time or scope of the crime. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were going over last night. Like the different when he was coming in, when he was leaving, the day after,
Hmm.
that day. I mean, he was all over the place, and cameras saw him, and
Yeah.
good cameras too. I mean, university cameras. Why did he? I wonder if there's a way to get out of Pullman without going down like by the Washington State or cameras. Like I mean, he was really just right in
I
the
think
cameras there.
I think in a way he was hoping to get caught on those cameras in Pullman.
Mhm.
I think that what essentially I think ended up screwing him over is the fact that he ended up seeing Dylan. Now,
Yeah.
whatever reason he didn't attack her, but I think he was aware of her, whether she made a sound like be quiet at some point,
Mhm.
or if he saw her when she opened the door or heard the door open and close, he
Mhm.
knew he had to get out of there. And I think that him turning on his phone when he did was probably the curiosity aspect. Curiosity kills the cat aspect of things,
Yeah.
where he's like, somebody saw me. There's got to be something on the radio, something on the news, something going on.
Yeah.
And so he
Yeah.
turns on his phone for that reason. But I
I
think
just thought maybe he got lost on the way back.
he also used the VPN. Apparently, he signed in somewhere and used the VPN. But for a guy that is super intelligent in forensic based or
Yeah.
cloud based stuff, technology, he didn't
VPN doesn't really
realize.
do much, does it though? It's only like it's supposed to conceal you, like when you're like in a coffee shop. I heard is a good time to use a VPN.
Well, in a phone situation, so Steve's an IT guy, and he kind of explained it that there is a way to do, like, had he had a phone or a computer somewhere, and he
Mhm.
had his phone linked to that computer, and there was a VPN somewhere else, and then at that point, it would have made him look like he was somewhere else throughout the entire time if he would have kept his phone on. But what he did was he turned his phone on and then logged into a VPN, and
So it didn't pick it up.
there was a connection from the phone to the towers. Now, because he wasn't, I think, tied off to a laptop,
Mhm.
every time he changed towers, it would briefly connect him. Boom, boom. Which is why there's like gaps on the
Yeah.
map, and it's not continuous. It's because it's catching the tower and then hitting a VPN, catching the tower and then a
Oh.
VPN.
Yeah, because
It's
I was asking Vincent like about VPNs, and he was just like, oh, when you're like in a coffee shop, like I was like, well, that helps a lot. It was though a long time ago though. It was when someone had like a VPN, they were doing like a promo or something for one. I was like, what's a VPN?
yeah,
And I saw
yeah.
you like he was like, just kind of like if you're in a coffee shop, you want to hide your information or
Yeah.
whatever. You don't want anyone to know your information. And I was
Well,
like, okay.
your location. So if you're in a coffee
Mhm.
shop, you can put in a VPN and you can put that you're somewhere else. A lot of people use it for like, well,
I hear people
the
mess up
NFL
too.
Sunday ticket is expensive.
Yeah.
And so in the United States, if you were to purchase, oh God, there's this other cheaper version. I think it's just like NFL.com. But outside of the States, you can get this cheaper version of it, and it costs significantly less.
Yeah.
But you can't get in the United States. You have to go through Sunday Ticket. And so what some people do is they'll get a VPN and put themselves in like Britain so that they can watch the NFL games through there.
Ah, smart.
Yeah, yeah. Some people also do that with like Netflix and things like that because there's certain channels that or certain shows that are shown in certain countries and not in others.
Oh yeah. So you just do the VP. Oh, I never would have thought. I never
Yeah.
would have known that.
Yeah. So he tried to use one of those on his phone, but he made the mistake that because he was moving and in order to get the VPN, he's not on Wi-Fi. Like if he was on Wi-Fi, that would be different. But since
Okay.
he's using cell service, he has to connect to the cell tower.
So it was just like bouncing off of it. And it
Yeah,
was just
he'd have
pinging on
to
him?
connect to the tower first, and then it would give him a different location.
Oh.
But it would still connect to his phone, giving
So
him.
why didn't he leave his phone on and then connect to a different location? Right.
Well, the smarter thing would have been to do something like that. But
Yeah.
you know, based on the documents, he started to forensically delete his stuff at school within 3 days. He stopped using his credit card.
Yeah.
Something happened that escalated him to go out there and do it and do it fairly quickly. You
Yeah.
know, and mistakes were made, and
Yeah.
you know, it's like anything else. You can be trained in a lot of things, but the very first time that you go out there and things hit the fan, sometimes that training goes out the window.
Yeah. And I think that if you're maybe counting on maybe only unaliving one person or two people, or maybe not four, and you know, I don't know why you wouldn't think you would be unaliving four people in a house full of people. You know, you see 50 cars outside, but you know, if he was going in there just to like unalive one person or kill one person, like, I don't know.
Well, I think so there was some text messages between him and a friend of his that went out on like News Nation, and he talked about wanting to be involved in high profile crimes. He talked about being the detective to solve them. Now, his life was falling apart. You know, he was a heroin addict at one point in his life.
Yeah.
You know, he was losing his job as a TSA. He lost his job as a law enforcement officer or security guard at the high school that he attended. And I'm not talking about when he was there, which he did get kicked out, but I'm talking about afterwards. He became a security officer there, and then he was forced to resign. You know, all those things aren't indications of somebody that's going to be hired or that somebody that would pass a background check. And so, you know, if his illusion or delusion is to be involved in high profile crimes and he can't be the police officer, now he wants to be the victim, there's only one other role. And to me, I think that in part, in some way, I do believe that that he wanted to create a large high profile crime. And one way you do that is with multiple victims or a mystery that has a lot of people to point the finger towards. And so if you have a house of 6 people, and let's just say, because I believe that his target was Kaylee. Let's just say that his target was Kaylee and she was in the bedroom, and either he abducted her or took her life, but was because there wasn't somebody else there, he was able to do it quietly. And then gets out. You know, that's going to be a huge mystery, and you have 5 other people that you can point the finger towards, like, hey, that person was involved, that person. That's going to build a huge crime. Now, if you have multiple people in there and multiple victims, that's going to build a huge crime. There was a couple whose lives were taken by a stabbing in the middle of the night. It also happened on the 13th day of the month, and this was a couple of years prior to this. And a lot of people were looking at that case to try to figure if that case had something to do with the Idaho case. Now, that case never got any traction until there was the thought that there was a possible serial killer. But on its own, it didn't get the high profile traction that either multiple victims would, or if you can attribute to multiple crimes to. And so I think that it was multifaceted why he chose this house. I think he chose it because there could be either multiple victims, but I also think, to me, the White Park thing, you know, him saying that's where he was going to be at, I wouldn't be surprised if he did have an intention of taking somebody out there, and it just didn't happen, you know, because Kaylee was in Maddie's room.
That's true. See, I always thought maybe Maddie was the target, but I used to think Kaylee. Now I think more Maddie, but I don't know.
Well, here's why I think it's Kaylee. So if you look at the house, right, and you go up the stairs, the first room that you would open is actually Kaylee's room, and then it would be Maddie's. Now, what do we know based on the documents? The defense pointed out that Dylan had stayed a couple of different things, and one of the things that she said was that she had heard who she thought was Kaylee going up the stairs with Murphy And in that document, I believe she mentions that they know that obviously it couldn't have been Kaylee because Kaylee was already deceased. Now, let's think about this. We know that the backsliding glass door was remained open throughout the entire time of the crime. We know that because during the altercation in Xana's room, Murphy's outside barking based on the same information. It was on the same documents that they were talking about. They did a test. Murphy was outside. So the backsliding glass door was left open due to the 911 call and everything else that's come about that. We know that Xana's room was left open. We know that Kaylee's room was left open because
I thought Kaylee's room was closed. That's why I always thought Murphy was in there.
No, that was one of the things that the defense pointed out. They said that the door was open and Murphy was in there and he wasn't covered in blood. Now, I don't understand what the significance of that is to say that it wasn't Brian Kohberger, but that was one of the things that
it's
Ann
weird.
Taylor,
The way they word it in the PCA is a little different. It's like he says like he enters or something, and like, or he says like something about the door being closed, I thought, and they entered earlier, like before he had got there, and they took the dog out or something like that.
Right. But in Ann Taylor's, I think it was either in trial or in a document, she mentions that because of the body cam that they know that Kaylee's door was open and Murphy was in there without any blood or anything like that.
Okay, that's so weird to me.
Okay,
was he in a cage? Was he in a kennel?
No, because he was outside barking at 4:17 a.m.
So
he was loose. He ran outside, and then at some point he ran back into his room, probably afraid, in fear. Went to the place that he was most comfortable with.
Yeah, that's so sad. He was only 11 months old.
Right. So
that's really sad.
So he was also.
I thought this whole time that in my brain, I thought Kaylee was in her bed. This is how I pictured it, even though they said they were together. I pictured Kaylee in her room and their doors being like open or slightly open to where she could maybe see if she got up. Because there's a picture like of looking in the back of Kaylee's room, and it looks like her bed's been turned down. Like on one side, like she just got out to go look for something. And I thought in my head, Murphy jumped off the bed with her and she turned around and she said, "Hey, Murphy, there's someone here." Like that's when you hear there's someone here. And that's her talking to the dog and then closing the door and then turning around, noticing it's not Maddie's boyfriend and there's something wrong. Like she runs in there. That's how I pictured it. But now that they're saying that the bedroom door was open and he was out running around, then he came back in.
Yeah. So that tells me that the backsliding glass door was open the entire time.
Well, I know the front door they said was open.
Somebody said the front door was open, but
there's a Fox News and then the news, the New York Post ran it. Yeah, the neighbor said it or something that the door was open.
But Chief Fry said it on 2 occasions that it wasn't. He said he doesn't know where they got that from, and he said it in a press conference. Then he said it at a Christmas parade.
Because they did say something about the back slider being open. Like I heard that before this, but I never could find where it was on the second.
It was the second conference. He said that he doesn't know anything about the front door being open, and then in another part he said, and the door was still open when officers arrived. So if he doesn't know about the front door being open, it must be the back sliding glass door being open.
I think I do remember that.
And I've been able to confirm that with some folks that the back sliding glass door was in fact remained open. Now, reason why you do that is because if you touch the door once, you have the possibility of leaving your DNA behind. If you close it behind you, that's twice. Then when you leave, you've already taken the life of somebody or whatever the case may be. You've exerted yourself. That is the most possible opportune time that you're going to leave DNA behind when you open it to get out. So the dog going out during the altercation tells me that the backsliding glass door was open. If you go to the May 2020 essay or whatever it is that he wrote on investigations, he specifically mentions to check the door for DNA because people on their way out would leave DNA. So he kept that in his mind. That's why he left the backsliding glass door open. And so to me, the only MO that we know is that this person leaves the doors open. So if he went upstairs, now Murphy's a young dog. I strongly would suspect that Kaylee wouldn't just let Murphy roam the house at night. So if the door, if Murphy ran downstairs to alert Xana, if that's because I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
that he ran downstairs. Xana's like, what are you doing? Took him upstairs, probably saw the backsliding glass door open, maybe even heard what was going on upstairs and said, I think someone's here.
Mhm.
Now, if Brian Kohberger entered that house and went into Maddie's room first, then Murphy wouldn't have been able to get out of Kaylee's room because it was close. Now, if Brian Kohberger went into Kaylee's room first and opened the door and left it open, then went into Maddie's room, that would have given the opportunity for Murphy to go downstairs and to alert Xana, and for Xana to get up and to go upstairs. So it doesn't work unless either Kaylee left the door open the entire night and Murphy was free to roam around the house the entire night, or the first door that was open was Kaylee's room, which allowed Murphy to go out to downstairs to alert Xana. Those are the only two possibilities, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or unless, I mean, for some reason, Murphy was scared of the stairs and wouldn't go down them. I mean, and just go like to Maddie and Kaylee's room, but I doubt it. I mean, he's a puppy.
Right. Well, yeah, he's up in Kaylee's room initially. And he goes down to Xana's room because Dylan at one point says, according to the court documents, or maybe in the court, I don't remember if it was Ann Taylor in court when she was mentioning the different statements that Dylan made. But one of the statements that she made was that she heard who she thought was Kaylee going upstairs with Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah, I did read that.
And so Kaylee she had already been deceased. So that had to have been Xana. And so
it might have been from court, but I read it.
Yeah, for Xana to be going upstairs with Murphy would have had to have come downstairs. So either that door was always open, or the intruder opened that door first, which should tell us a little bit of something about who he was targeting first.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would know you would know the bedrooms. I mean, if you're looking from back here, Maddie's has a big M in her window. I mean, her name's in her window and her boots. Like that's, I mean, that shows. Do you think that he was looking at like Zillow listings to figure out the layout?
He may have. I mean, before there's this one, and I still have it. It's not up anymore, but for some reason I have the link and it still works for me. But there used to be this like 3D tour of the house. That didn't come out.
I have it.
Yeah, that didn't come out until after the murders. So up until that point, there was just like Zillow and apartment.com or whatever the case may be. And all of those had pictures. I don't necessarily know if they had the layout per se. They may have, but I remember seeing a bunch of pictures for the most part. And, because I remember when this first happened, I was going through those pictures trying to figure out which room was what and what bedroom was where.
Yeah, it was so confusing.
Yeah,
remember
exactly.
When everyone was trying to figure out what the house looked like on the inside. Because we are all like, trying to figure things out, but nobody we needed an architect or something back then. That house was built weird.
Well, it was added too. It was.
That's what I mean. Like when they added on the additions, they just what kind of lumber you have today? It seems like we'll take whatever you got. But I'm gonna put that one link for that housing thing back in the chat because it's working again. Did you see that it wasn't working for a while?
Yeah, I had it saved somewhere and I'd opened it up and or I tried to Google search it and I couldn't find it. And then I went through my links that I have saved and I clicked on it and it works through my links.
Oh, okay. I put it back in here, like the Kula or whatever it is.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wouldn't let me navigate around for the longest time. And I was trying to write the guy. I was like, I need you to fix this because this is like my visual for my visual aid for myself when I'm even when I'm putting stuff together for the cases. And I was like, I need this. But they
check
fixed
it out.
It. Yeah, it's
check it out. Kaylee's room is the first one upstairs. And my opinion is he went to that room first, which would make sense if he went in there and she wasn't there, and then he looked into Maddie's room and he saw her. Yeah. And he has to climb over somebody to get to her. Now that's something that's pissed him off, which is why she has the other injuries, the more severe ones.
Yeah.
And then Ethan has different injuries as well. His legs are hard, so
they're all listed different. Maddie and Kaylee's are listed the same, but they're not I know they're not the same, but they're listed as the same. Sharp force injuries or something. And then Ethan's different than Xana's and the girls. Mm-hmm. It's really weird how they worded that, And I think Anne might take that and be like, this wasn't done with all the same weapon because they would have been worded all the same. Or I don't know what she's going to pull, but I have a feeling she'll pull something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you walk up the stairs, this is the first bedroom to the right. So that would be Kaylee's room.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean,
And like I said,
And
it
the
doesn't
dog
make
was
sense
on
if he
bed.
were to, yeah, because it, like I said, either Kaylee left the door open and Murphy was allowed to go in and out and up and down the stairs and throughout the entire house, or that door was opened first, because it would be impossible, in my opinion at least, for him to have gone into Maddie's room and then into Kaylee's room, then for Murphy to get out, go downstairs, alert Xana, then Xana to walk, she's not running, she's probably taking and walking, and then going upstairs and then hearing something or whatever. So it just doesn't make any sense. It would have to be either the intruder opened Kaylee's door first, or Kaylee left it open the entire night. And I just don't believe that Kaylee would leave it open all night, especially being it was a young animal and she had roommates and things like that.
Yeah. And then what if the dog went all the way to the first floor and couldn't, find its way back up? Like, I think she'd get lost, I think she'd be worried Murphy would get himself lost like that. And now that I'm looking at it from this vantage point, you probably, if you were on the second floor, let's say you're coming up to the third floor, you might not know anything that's going on the third floor until you hit that second landing.
Yep.
Because that wall's in the way, you kind of would absorb some of the sound and noise.
Yeah. You definitely wouldn't be able to see anything.
But it's all floor, the wood floors. Every room has those wood floors in it. You'd think you'd hear scuffles and sounds, but I mean, maybe not where they were. I mean, especially Bethany. She was all the way down at the bottom. She was in that little cocoon of in the wall, or in the hill there. So she had a lot of
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the audio from the house next door, 50 feet away, we all heard what the sounds were. It didn't sound like anybody screaming or kicking or none of those. You hear what I think is, it sounds like a bed scrooching over. That thud noise sounds like somebody throwing themselves on the bed and the bed kind of moving over and hitting against the wall, because you kind of hear that sound of friction from the bottom of the bed.
Now that you're saying it like that, I feel like I can hear that part of the bed, or something. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that again.
Yeah, if you moved a desk or something across a hardwood floor, that noise. And so that's what I hear. And it does, which kind of makes sense why Dylan or Bethany didn't call 911. They didn't hear screams, kicking, yelling, those things. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't think you necessarily would if you were in a knife attack. I think you'd be wanting to save your energy for fighting off the intruder that's coming at you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I would think anyway. That, because a lot of people come in the chat well, why didn't we hear screaming? And I'm like, that's why I think, because I mean, they were fighting for their life.
Well, the Howard Bloom said that in certain articles he's written and he said in interviews that I've had with him that the throat may have been a target for some of these victims.
I believe that.
If that's the case, you can't really scream. You know what I'm saying? I've seen, how can I put it? So I've seen things that were at the crime scene at one point that are not being used in trial. They're not part of any gag order. They were actually released. These items were released to the family members. And this is part of the victim's personal property. And I could say, based on the items that I've seen, that I would believe that Howard Bloom is correct.
Okay. And what did Howard Bloom say again?
That the throat was involved.
Oh, the throat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they gave them back items that were had stuff on them. Maybe?
I don't want to go into details, but enough for me to say that may have been the case.
That is heartbreaking. Was it a white table?
I've seen a white table, but that's not what made me think the way I think.
Okay.
I saw a white dresser, but yeah. And it was a different item that would have been on the floor.
Yeah.
And
do you know if because I was wondering this, do you know if Kaylee and Maddie had the same end tables in the rooms? like the little white ones with the drawer. I think they had like 2 drawers or something like that.
Maybe.
Because we saw, because I was looking at videos the other day, like when they were bringing out the mattresses,
Yeah.
and they had a table, and it looked just like that white table, but it was like wrapped in red stuff. But you could see like the legs or something. Something made me know it was that table. But then
They have a
when
mirror.
the cops walked out and they were carrying the personal belongings of the victims, they had a white table, but it looked like Maddie's side table. And I'm like, but that's white. Like I couldn't see anything on it from where we were, how we were watching it. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if maybe there was something on it we just didn't see. And that's
Right.
sad.
Yeah.
Nobody should. I mean, I heard how they got the belongings back. They said before they were wearing like hats with light on it. And then her items were in like a storage warehouse or something, like a warehouse type of feel. And they were like going around trying to like, they didn't even have, I guess, like all the victims' belongings, like all of Kaylee's stuff for hers and all Maddie's stuff for hers. It was like everyone's was mixed in, and
Yeah.
you don't know what your college kid has. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, good thing they took a lot of pictures and videos. If I was her mom, I would be on every video, every picture, writing down every outfit, or you know what I mean, just so I could like.
Yeah, the way you say that they was all mixed up. That's what I recall, because that makes sense. That makes the most sense based on what I saw. Because I believe what I saw was, in Xana's room at one point, and so but that's my belief. I mean, I have I'm like 99.9% positive that's where it was at. Yeah. But it would make sense because, like, now that you mention it, it did seem like there was some things that were mixed around there.
Yeah. Yeah. They said that they had to, it's sad. And they probably wouldn't know which was whose. I mean, really? I mean, that's like, my mom didn't know what I had in college. Like, I mean, she kind of knew my outfits maybe, but nothing really like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe a couple things, but I don't think she'd really know what was mine. And that's
true too. I think the only person that probably you could tell whose was what was probably Ethan's, just based on the fact that he male, he didn't live there. So
he didn't live there.
The items that he would have had would have been personal items to him.
Yeah. That's true.
But so I've seen some of that stuff, but I would say that that's accurate. And I think that's the reason why they weren't yelling. I think they were coughing.
Yeah. And they said, I don't know if I read it like in the documents or where we heard it. Maybe so don't just take this with a grain of salt. So I don't know where I heard it, but maybe that's how they got Ethan. Was maybe they like if they went for like a main artery or something like
that's what the Dateline said. The Dateline said that,
okay.
Yeah, that with one swift blow to an artery, and I'm assuming it's this one. Yeah, and it sounds like he was asleep in bed. It sounds like, from what I understand and from everything that I have heard, it sounds like Xana was the third person to be attacked. Yeah, and then Ethan was the last, and then he may have gone back to Xana or stayed with Ethan. I don't know, but it sounds like at least at one point Xana was attacked before Ethan, and it doesn't sound like Ethan woke up from that.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. And I looked it up. I was like, man, if someone ever comes and gets my computer, I'm done. Like my Google searches are so bad. But I asked, like, what if like someone were to like hit a carotid artery or something like that? Like how long? Like, and they said within seconds you would be unconscious. So that's, I mean, if that's the way that they went, that is better than, the alternative of like.
And like shock and stuff kicks in, and so 100%, and that's probably why you don't hear screams and stuff too, is like they probably went into shock, they were surprised. A lot of people say that it was impossible to do. The detectives went in there and just by either moving quickly, and they did it between 2 minutes and 4 minutes, and they attributed, I think I read that in one of the documents that they were able to go in there, and it took them between 2 minutes and 4 minutes. One was walking faster, one was walking slower, and it accounted for every wound that the victims had. So they went in there, they walked up the stairs, in the manner that they believed that the guy did, and they had dummies there, and they utilized the wounds that the victims' bodies had,
Wow.
and the blood splatter on the walls and things to recreate with the arm movements and
Mm-hmm.
each injury, and they were able to account for every one of them based on the blood splatter and based on the injuries.
Yeah.
And it only took him between 2 to 4 minutes. And so he was in there for about, I mean, he pulls in around about 8:07. I think at that time is when he's probably putting things on. So he's probably in the house around 8:09. And he's, so Dylan sees him, and then they have a phone conversation. She calls Bethany. That phone call happens at 4:19. So she would have already had seen the intruder. So the intruder had left about 4:18. So
Yeah.
You're looking at about 9 minutes total in there. So there's an extra 5 minutes of him doing something in that house. But when he goes outside, he leaves at about 4:18. The video that sees him leaving is like 4:20 and like 48 seconds. And so he's outside for about 2 minutes doing something. My guess is he's either taking off all of his clothing or he's putting on another suit, maybe a hazmat type suit. So that way it contains all the evidence inside of that until he can get somewhere where he can change and take all of it off together collectively.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think that he kept like the knife or anything, or do you think he threw that in the Snake River? You think he buried it?
Well, he's a narcissist. If he committed this crime, he's a narcissist. He's self-indulged. He was looking for another knife. Now, I don't think it was because he was expecting somebody to come to his door and say, "Hey, where's your knife?" Right? If they were doing that, they would have seen that he purchased two. It would have been busted, right? So, he's doing that because, in my opinion, he's going to purchase another one. Now, if he's purchasing another one, it's either because he doesn't have access to the first one or it was damaged.
Yeah.
One of the two. So I'm
thinking,
not sure.
I go back and forth. I was thinking maybe he threw it in the Snake River or something, but then I'm like, that one, the search warrant for his house.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, the search warrant for his house, it says like knife, and that's the only knife that's listed on there that isn't descriptive. Like the other ones say like Blue Ridge, like pocket folding knife or something.
I've been able to confirm that. So there was a document where it was referring to the K-bar knife sheath, and it was talking about the DNA, and it said that there was DNA that was recovered that matched Brian Kohberger that was recovered on a K-bar knife, and they forgot the word sheath. And there was another creator that was going around saying, "Oh, they found the K-bar knife. They found the K-bar knife." So I contacted Steve, and Steve contacted the Bill Thompson, and Bill told him that it was a mistake, that it was supposed to say K-bar knife sheath, and that they hadn't at that time found it. And so it was not found at that time. They did not have access. They did not have it. And then here recently, when the judge mentioned, the display case for a knife, I asked about that, and I've confirmed that that's for the monstrous exhibit, a replica, to show the jury that this was the type of knife that was used to cause the injuries.
Yeah, when they said the display box, that's what I figured would be put in there. So I didn't. Yeah, I guess I should have answered my own question there, because people were asking that in this chat too. I think like we were going over, maybe it was that court hearing that day or something, and they were like, "What, they're going to have the knife there? They're going to display it?" And I'm like, "No." I was like, "No, they wouldn't. They're not going to do that." I'm like, "I don't think so." And then we heard that it was like a replica or whatever, so that they could. I mean, it might be a K-bar knife. Who knows? But
yeah, well, it's probably a K-bar, but it's not the K-bar. It's a demonstrative.
Yeah. Wow, I'm ready for this trial to start. And like you said, I don't think they're going to continue it either. I've been saying that over here. I'm like, he's not continuing this. That judge is ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's seen cases big like this before. This isn't John Judge, where you go to him for like a DUI or something like that. I feel like he's like, would be like a good judge for like, some of those cases. But like this was a big case. And I think even for him, like he was given a lot of the stuff to the defense without like questioning it. And then Judge Hippler came in and was like, no, like the first, chance he got, then, he was going to actually let the seals kind of come out like down a little bit too. He wasn't going to seal everything. He was just going to redact stuff, he said. But then they've been sealing everything, I think, since Dateline kind of happened. Really. It was like we got the 911 call, we got this and that. I was like, man, we're getting stuff. And then Dateline came out and it closed up again. So hopefully, you know, on the 18th, he'll say that, you know, that this isn't going to be continued. I'm glad that that part is open. I wish we could see the alternate perpetrators. I would love to hear what Ann Taylor's putting on for that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, the glove outside, the hand railing, I don't know.
It's sealed for a reason. It's probably because it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But there's going to be
if they were to say an ultimate perpetrator, they don't want everyone to know who it is. If she's throwing a name out there too, I guess so. Yeah,
especially without any evidence. But there's going to be another. So there's a book coming out next month, and then there's the Amazon Prime thing that's coming on next month. I know people that are interviewed in the Amazon Prime. I'm going to attempt to have them on the channel after that airs out.
Who is it? Can you tell us?
Not yet.
Oh, it's a secret. Oh man.
Yeah, that one I can't.
There are some good people in it.
Yeah, I'll say this: the person that's in it it wasn't in the trailer.
Oh, it wasn't in the trailer. Okay, so there's even more people that we don't even know.
Yes, there are. And so
it's like a docu-series, so it's gonna be like a few episodes.
Yeah. That's what I took from it. It's a series, so I'm interested. I don't know if it's a series that they've been doing, if they've been talking about Idaho, and this is just another episode. And I guess the playlist, you know how we have playlists, so to speak. Maybe that's what they're referring to as far as series. But yeah.
Well, I saw Ethan's parents in there, and I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, look at them.
It's 4 parts. 4 parts, guys.
4 parts. Oh, okay, I thought it was 3 or 4. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe 3, but 4 episodes. Wow.
Nice.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I think it'll be a good watch, and just to hear what they have to say. I mean, you know, they were there firsthand, and a lot of them, you know, especially like Hunter and Maisie haven't been able to talk yet. I'm excited to hear, not excited, but you know, I'm curious to hear actually what they have to say, because you know, I mean, it was their brother they lost, and Ethan's brother. I thought when he first passed, like in 2022, I didn't think that Ethan and his brother really looked that much alike for being paternal twins. I don't know. Like, I don't know. To me, they didn't look a lot alike. But now when I see his brother, maybe it's because he's a few years older, just like, you know, I don't know. His brother would have been a few years older too, though. But he looks a lot more like Ethan to me when I look at him. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's something about like the eyes and maybe the hair. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. And I know that I think Ethan's parents even helped James Patterson with the book, with like Ethan's part in it. So I'm thinking maybe like they're going to have chapters, individual chapters. Have you heard anything from Steve or anybody?
I know that Steve isn't a part of it. Him and Jeff are not a part of the Amazon, from what I understand. I understand that they're a part of a Netflix. And so they get a lot of flack, right? Because a lot of people are saying that they're the ones that release information and all this other crap. They violated the gag order. They haven't violated anything. They haven't. The Netflix, there was a contact with, I guess, like a firm that wanted them to go through with the Netflix thing, but they wanted it to air before the trial. And the Gonsalves said no, they wouldn't do anything before the trial. And so they got with a different company, and it's still through Netflix. And so Netflix is not going to air it, but after the trial. And they are working with an author to have a book out there, and that book is going to be coming out after the trial. I'm also going to have that author on the channel, and we're going to promote the book just like I did with Howard Bloom. And so, but all that stuff's happening after the trial. So,
well, that'll be good for something for after for them.
Exactly. And also because, you know, they don't want to violate anything. They don't want to get kicked out of not being able to go attend their, you know, the trial that, you know, associated with their daughter's murder. And so, you know, they don't want, like I said, they don't want to get kicked out or any of those things. So they're doing things legit by the book. That's why they have an attorney. They have an attorney so they can run by all these things. When I interviewed Steve, we did that as a recorded video, and then we sent it out to his attorney, and I had my attorney look at it, and we made sure that we wouldn't violate any gag order or anything like that before it came out. And that's because we want to make sure and ensure that we don't do those things. Now, I've gotten a lot of flack about people saying that I violated some sort of gag order, but nobody can point anything that I've shown or done that's violated the gag
families order. Are allowed to talk about their loved ones.
Exactly.
They're allowed to talk about their, like, what they think about the case too. Exactly. If they're attorneys that aren't supposed to be talking.
Well, even at
From
that,
what
I
I
mean,
gathered.
what is it that the family should know? It's not like they had their detective hats on and they were looking for clues at the crime scene. They weren't
Well,
there.
well, it's not like they're getting any information.
Exactly. And so, but Brian Kohberger's defense team, they were opposed to things like vigils and things like that because they felt that it was unfair and unjust to their client, that it showed some sort of prejudice that people couldn't celebrate. They thought that the celebration of life was a prejudice against Brian Kohberger, and those type of things. And it's ridiculous, it's redonkulous, it's whatever
If
you
this
want to
was
call
any
it at
other
this point.
case, this wouldn't be happening. I feel
Yeah.
like
Well,
with the IgG and stuff, everyone is like, that's junk science, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, Golden State Killer's behind bars and nobody's talking about him.
at the end of the day, if you think it's junk science, throw it out. It's not used. At the end of the day, it's his
Yeah.
DNA that matched the knife sheath. It's not the DNA of his cousin or whoever else was in that IgG. The IgG was merely a point in the direction because the folks with the IgG didn't test Brian Kohberger's DNA.
Yeah.
That was the Idaho State lab that tested Brian Kohberger's DNA with a swab, and they tested it towards the connection of the DNA that was left on the knife sheath. So, the way you test the IgG to ensure if it's accurate is if you test the suspect that you think that is involved.
Yeah.
If it comes back negative, that means you did it wrong. If it comes back positive, that means you did something right. And so
apparently they did something right with all them zeros. It was 27 zeros. I mean, I couldn't imagine being Brian and hearing that. I'd be like, I'm a criminal justice. I got my bachelor's in criminal justice and applied science. And if someone told me those numbers, I would be crying. I'd be like, oh, I'm done. And I mean, he knows what DNA is. He knows the DNA, he knows the science, he knows how it all works. I mean, and he's getting all the discovery. So he's seeing more than what we've probably even seen, what we even know.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, the biggest teller is the fact that his own attorney doesn't know where he was that night. When they were demanding his alibi, there was a situation where the defense was crying that they wanted Brian Kohberger's call detail records. Now, we didn't know that at the time, that's what they wanted because they were under seal. It was like the 20th, the 15th, discovery or whatever. Little did we know that Cy was wrong about the length and time that those call detail records were retained, and that it was only for 7 days. But the defense didn't understand that, and even Ann Taylor mentioned it multiple times in court that much of their motions were because of that. Well, anyway, so man, I think I forgot where I was going. What was I saying before that?
Cy.
Oh yeah. So the call detail records, those weren't saved for after 7 days, but that was a big part of their arguments very early on, and they stuck with it for the longest time. Man, I had a point with it.
I remember everybody was going to Cy. They were like, Cy Ray's going to come out here and save Brian Kohberger.
Oh yeah, and I remember. So there was the argument that at that time during these discovery things, Bill Thompson was requesting and demanding the alibi of Brian Kohberger. And there was a court hearing in which Ann Taylor had said that they've been requesting this discovery. They know they have it because there's other people. And this is the 38,000 other AT&T, persons that were downloaded. So this is why we know that that's what she was referencing to it. And Thompson's like, we can't give her what we don't have, which was Brian Kohberger's advanced timing records. And then after that, they requested the alibi, and Ann Taylor says something to the effect like, well, I can't, this is all we know, and I can't give you what we don't have. And what she had at that time was that Brian Kohberger is at no time saying where he was at any specific time or place, just that he was east, southeast, and west of Moscow throughout the time, and he was driving by himself. And so what that told me was that even Brian Kohberger didn't tell her more than that. He never told her anything, and she still doesn't know, because by law, because of the demand and all that other stuff, she can't go up there and say that she doesn't know. If she knows, you know what I'm saying? And so that should be a big clue. Why wouldn't your attorney not know where you were that night, unless your attorney tells you? Because I'm assuming that conversation goes like this, like, hey, where were you that night? Unless you don't want me to know where you were.
No, you put it a little bit. You put it a little different than I put it. I said, I wonder if Ann Taylor sat him down and said, "Hey, did you do this crap or not?" Because Because I mean, I wonder if she asked him. I'd be curious to know. I mean, if I was a defense attorney, maybe I'd want to know. I don't know. But I
Well,
mean,
you kind of have to,
yeah.
if you're
I mean, they
gonna.
could always lie to you, but I think you would know, right?
Well, I think you want to word it that way, so that way you have plausible deniability. That way you
Yeah.
can go in there and say you believe that this person is innocent.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I mean, it would be written all over my face. I couldn't be a defense attorney anyway. So I'd be like, I can't help you. I can't help you, sir. But no, I think that they have a lot
I
of
know a lot of
evidence.
folks are saying that they don't think that she would have asked, where were you? I think that's why I said the question would be like, if you want me to know where you were, not
Yeah, like,
necessarily like anything further than that.
or can you point
Because,
me in the direction of where some stuff is that
well,
tells me where you were?
the reason why you ask in the manner that I asked is because if he is in fact innocent, let's just say that he is getting railroaded and he is innocent. Well, you want to go and look in the right place to go find evidence to prove that he was somewhere else. Like if he said, no, I was at the Walleye Park at 4:00. Well, she's probably going to go out there and try to pull something, surveillance and things of that nature. Now, that's why you ask, like, do you want me to know? If you don't, just stay quiet and you leave it at that. You don't ask the question further than that. You know what I'm saying?
He's good at staying quiet. That's for
Yeah.
sure. We watched where he stood or sat quiet the other night, and I was like, it got me angry all over again. I was like, why is he just sitting there, not saying no, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor? like he was going to do something different this time.
I think she did that. For Skylar Mead too. She didn't enter a plea.
I think I heard that. So that's her. I guess that's her way of doing things.
That's her MO.
Yeah, I guess that's her way of staying on the clock longer.
Maybe.
I mean, 200 an hour. I mean, you're not going to get that when you're, doing DUIs or whatever it is, or DVs, or like lowercase, cases. If they're not murders or, this is a mass murder. I mean, this is going to be her only Brian Kohberger case. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this will probably be her only case of this magnitude.
True.
I've never seen anything like this before. And I've been around for a lot of true crime cases. And I've never seen anything quite like Idaho 4. I guess it's the internet too.
Yeah. It's definitely more and more folks interested in it. But I do got to get going. I want to thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, this was fun. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for coming up and answering some of our questions.
Yes, ma'am. You have a great night, and thank you to your chat for being great. You have a good night.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you guys for being awesome. And if you guys, I'll show you my nails again if you haven't seen them. I got them. They're supposed to be light purple, but they came out pink. So we're doing a double pink month because I had them pink for Maddie's the month of May, and I wanted to get them purple for Kaylee for the month of June. I'm a little late. I wanted to do it on her birthday, but my nails weren't growing out then. So, and thank you, Daniel, for coming up. I appreciate it so much. But we did get some purple hearts in there. I don't know if the camera will let me. I think it's the light behind me. Maybe if I do this. I don't know. Maybe I have to take a picture, but they're on this nail. They have two little, so I thought he was only going to put one heart because I didn't ask for two. So this was even better. He put two hearts on each nail. So if you think about it, right, like this could be like for Maddie and Kaylee, two little hearts, and then for 4 hearts for all 4 of the victims. So I was like, this is he did it like freehanded too. Better heart design than I could do. Drew a better heart. And thanks again for coming up. I appreciate it. And let me drop his video link in the chat one more time. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. That was for the Kahlua. Or Kahlua. I don't know. I'm calling it Kahlua like the drink, but it's called like, I don't know what the website's called. It's spelled like Kuula or something like that. Kula. I'm probably saying it really wrong. People are probably like, what are you talking about? And thank you, everybody that came in from over there. I just noticed some new names, so I'm assuming that you're from his chat. Yes, Ashley, this has been a learning experience for me too. This case has definitely been. I think every case that I've covered, I've learned. I've learned something from it. I mean, whether it's, just how to handle cases or victims or just, how I approach things. But yeah. Chloe. And thinks she's doing big things. Well, she stood, he sat. I'm going back up through the chat because I never pay attention to the chat with people on panel. I'm sorry. I'm the worst at that. Oh, look, Betsy Ross said that. Skylar. Yeah, oh, look, Ashley said the same thing. Look at y'all. Y'all are so smart. Y'all are smart in here. Afton said the defense guys I know ask for everything up front. They don't want to be surprised later. I would probably ask for it. Maybe. I don't know if I'd want to know though, right? I mean, really, like Daniel said, I don't know if I'd want to know. Because then if you know, like, okay, say they say, yeah, I did it. Like, that you're getting off somebody that just told you that they did a horrific crime. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that might do something to your psyche. Oh, I would love conversations with Ann and Brian. Wish we could get those. I really wish we could. Ann said Brian was picked for this before he even moved to there. Well, nah, he bought the knife over there, though. He kind of picked himself. I wonder if I don't think that I don't know. I'm still going back and forth with that, too. I'm wondering if he knew the victims prior to him moving to Washington. Or if that was something that he found them, after moving there. Hey, Nash. Oh, it's 12:18. I forgot we came on late. It is so late. Vince is probably passed out there. That's okay. He was passed out last night, too. He was sleeping on the couch. That's probably why the dog's at the door. I got the dog's at the door over here. You just missed it. We had Daniel on panel. We were talking about the DoorDash driver that's been named and put out there on a silver platter by creators that aren't very cool. About that. But I'm glad that he came up and we got to talk. And I'm glad that I learned a couple things I didn't know. I didn't realize that Murphy was just roaming around. He was probably hiding at that time, but you know what I mean. That makes me feel so sad. Right, Betsy? I think that he might have picked that house. I don't know. I think that it could have been the people and the house. Because I think that if I was in college, that would be a pretty cool house to live in, right? So maybe he was a little jealous of that. Because we all saw where he lived a steptoe. I showed you the model of his home, Maybe I'll put that on video, on a video, and put it out for you guys. So if you guys ever want to watch it. But they do layouts of Steptoe Village where Brian Kohberger used to live. It's not his exact apartment, but you can tour it, like a virtual tour. And they're not that nice. And then I actually talked to somebody that cleans those Steptoe apartments. They were in the comment section and they said that they can't ever get them clean from college students and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know why you'd be putting carpets and some old stuff like that. I mean, they were put up in the 70s and they don't look like they've changed. So I think that seeing this 3-story house, 6 bedrooms, laughter in the kitchen, when the kitchen's all lit up and the backyard's all lit up and you see all this laughter and singing and drinking and beautiful people. You know what I mean? Shit. I think it was a little of both. Yeah, that's right. Jeremy Ted Bundy had no connection to his victims. And he got 4 girls from a sorority house. Was it 3 or 4? I think it was 4. 2 died, 2 lived. No, he got 3 from the sorority house, 1 down the road. He left the sorority house and then got another one. Couldn't even go a block, buddy. Oh yeah, and happy Father's Day to you guys out there. Daniel, if you're still in the chat, happy Father's Day. I should have wished you a happy Father's Day. This is like your third, I think. Second, third? I know he had a baby when I first came on the platform. When I first came on the platform. Maybe a little after. I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, he could see them online. Well, there are people that are saying he was following certain people. Now, I could have sworn, and I'm not the type to be this sleuthy, so but I can swear I did this. That as soon as they dropped Brian Kohberger's name, I went to Instagram. But the thing is, I thought that he was following Maddie and Kaylee and Xana, but I don't. I'm just like I'm picturing I'm picturing visually it in my head. I can see it, but like I didn't save the link or anything because I didn't think that I have to. I'm pretty sure I probably just exited out of it right afterwards and never thought it would be gone. People delete stuff. I didn't know that back then. He is a creeper. Oh, he does have older daughters. I didn't know that. Frenchie, look at that. Well, happy Father's Day to you, Daniel, if you're still listening. And if not, we'll have to tell him happy Father's Day in his chat one night. Yeah, Father's Day is a big deal, for all the dads out there. They get their one day. Maybe I'll cook Vincent breakfast in bed tomorrow since I get it every day or every weekend. Every weekend day. If I'm in bed and he wants breakfast, he's going to bring it in to me when he's done with it. And then today he said, made my heart melt. He said, yeah, my wife, because he gets my plate already. It was so nice. And I'm like, look at me. I'm getting breakfast in bed. I was like, this happens a lot. And I was like, I'm such a lucky girl. And he's like, yeah, sometimes my food gets cold. And I was like, oh, it broke my heart. And I was like, your food gets cold because you're preparing my food. I was like, you can eat first. Don't even prepare my food. I could get it. He just does it. I don't know. He just does things, Who else uses their real name on social media? Well, I use mine, I think. No, I don't. Actually, I don't use mine anymore. Everything is locked down to TitaniumBuilt. Even if you get on my Facebook. Don't go over there though. I got pictures of when I was 20 on there. I've never deleted a picture, not a day in my life. I am so bad about it. I tell you, I don't delete a text message. I don't delete an email. I don't delete nothing. Facebook pictures. There's probably pictures on there of me and my boyfriend from when I was 23. I'm just whatever. They're memories. And I don't feel like I need to get something to put all the info in, Definitely not. Yeah, Jeremy. 6 Ellie's canines are being certified tomorrow. Oh, that sounds like fun. Tumbleweed, is that your bird? Do you have a bird? We have a bird. We have birds and we have 2 eggs. Let me show you. I think I got a picture of it because Vincent sent it to me. I'll show you guys real quick before I get off here. Okay. I don't know why I just took a picture of a picture. I meant to send it to me. Airdrop it to me. Looks like I need to clean up there, but the birds have been up there. So we've had 3 sets. We've had the same 2 birds, because they like us. I don't know. But we've had the same 2 birds mate. How many times now? 3. This is their 3rd time mating or whatever they do, mating. We're going to call it that. But they're going to have 2 more babies. So we've had 2, 4. We've had 4 babies so far. We're going to have 6 babies. But here's the little nest. Let me see if I can make myself small. It's not very, I didn't I should zoom in a little bit. There we go. Oh, wow. Now you can really see them. But look at the smallest little nest and the little 2 eggs. They say that pigeons, they only need a small little nest. They'll sit to the side. They don't care. Oh, really? Poor parakeets. Oh, but say that one's right on the skateboard. I would have never known if I wouldn't have asked. See, that just looks like a standard picture that you get online. That is a pretty bird. Uh-oh. They're going to hear me talking to him. They're going to be saying pretty bird. My friend, well, she was my friend. She was this older woman when I was a kid, but she lived in my neighborhood. But she had a, what are they called? The ones that can talk to you. Not like the parrots, but they're the certain parrots. Macaw. She had a macaw. Oh. But anyway, that's my bird family. I thought the I didn't know they were going to be like white eggs. I mean, I knew they wouldn't be blue because they're not robins, but I'd never seen white eggs like that. So those are my birds. I'll let you guys know how they do. They should be hatching in a couple weeks. Maybe, I don't know, two weeks or a week. Who don't we want, Jane? Jane, who don't we want? Ooh, we'll send them on a plane. You send me the plane ticket money, the plane fare, and we'll send you both of them. I mean, I'm just throwing in Trump just because you said you take them. That's just less people over here. A golden macaw? Man, those are expensive, aren't they? Like those macaws? A grand bird. Oh, that's so cute. A grand bird. It's a gray cockatoo. I'm about to go get me a bird now. Man. Almost 38. Shut the front door, Ashley. I forgot they lived to be forever old. No, never mind. Never mind. No. I'm like, can you imagine? I mean, you can because I cannot imagine somebody like talking like me or like mimicking me and me have to put up with their crap for like my whole life. I mean, really, if I got a baby bird at this point, it would outlive me. Almost. Let's hope it wouldn't. But you know what I mean. Let's be real. Mm. Yeah, he said he doesn't like Taylor 25% less. He liked Taylor Swift's music. I'm a T Swiftie over here. I'm like, there's no such thing. Can I send you a couple other people? I got plenty of people I could send you. I got people I could send you that already live over there and just get them off platform. Learn how to hunt for their own food. Oh, that's cute, Ladybug. I bet they're cute. If I started doing the eagles now, I'll be done. I'll be watching them all day. You had macaws too? When we'll go on vacation? I heard they're like kids. They literally, we let her macaw out one time. Oh my gosh. So me and my friend were cleaning her apartment. She was a lady that was handicapped and in a wheelchair and in one of those motorized wheelchairs. And she was mean. I'm just being real. She was mean. She was probably in a lot of pain. She was older, but she was mean and that's fine. But we were cleaning her apartment one day and we had the front door open to air it out, right? Like air out the apartment. We were kids. We were probably like 6 or 7. Why were somebody letting us go to clean someone's apartment for $10 is beyond me. That's what she gave us, $10 to clean her whole apartment. And her bird flew out the door one day and I freaked out. And I ran and got my brother. And because he's 9 years older than me. And I said, he'll know what to do. He said, you're in trouble. He said, you're in trouble, girl. And I think it was like that night or the next day, the bird flew back in the door. Like we opened it. Like she had opened it and it came back. We just heard her going, oh my gosh, she was so happy she got her bird back. But if she wouldn't have got her bird back, I don't think I'd be on this earth. I think she would have taken me down with that automatic wheelchair she has because that thing went fast. And she meant she said. I love Swifty. She can come live with me then. Yeah, I'll take her money too over Trump's money, actually. So I'm thinking about it. He might want to step to the side. She's been doing good. Oh, but now I always hear him. I can never see him. Ashley, that's funny. She said, here's his name and address. Mice for pets? I don't want no mice. Squeaky. Oh, I think I'm going to jump off here. I hear my dog back here snoring. Oh, it's this one. The brown one's snoring tonight. I looked at the chair. She wasn't there. Look. Oh. She's right. Oh, she's right out the door. I forgot she was out there. She's laying in a spot that's like this wide because I have like baskets that go along the wall and like, oh gosh. I know, Heather. I love Taylor Swift too. I actually did a Taylor Swift little lip singing thing the other day to a song, and it was actually pretty funny. I need to put that on the internet. I need to upload that. Yeah, send me anything you need. Yeah, you have to watch the birds. The birds are the eagles are. I mean, the eagles would be cute. I wish I could put a little cam up there. I don't know if I don't have an outdoor camera though. No, I do. Would that light bulb camera record 24? I don't know. We'll have to see. 4 tickets cost my brother $16,000. Oh, I believe that. I believe that. I bet it was a show to see though. 4,000 each. That's as much as my tooth cost. Would I take a tooth or would I take a night for Taylor Swift? Those are both questionable. I don't know. I don't want to make an answer for that. The adult in me says take the tooth. The Swiftie in me says, let's sing. She sells out every single show plus some. I mean, you know, like people are just like standing there, like just to buy gear, like her like merch. I mean, the stuff like this, the merchandise sales. I don't see a lot of people wearing concert t-shirts unless they say Taylor Swift on them. If you think about it, think about it. So, and you know, like, I don't know. I like Taylor. Oh, you went too, Heather? Oh, man. Y'all, you didn't even save me a ticket. Didn't even buy me a $4,000 ticket so I could go with you. I would have bought my plane ticket to go. As long as it's close to me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But thank you guys for being here. And thank you, Daniel, for coming on. I appreciate it. I really do. That was a good show. What else was I going to tell you guys? I think that was it. Yeah. Happy Saturday night to y'all. Or actually, happy Sunday to you because it's past 12. Vincent's probably like, man, she was on that live for 3 hours. I thought this was going to be a short live tonight. So that's how it goes, though. When you think it's short, it's longer. I don't know. But I love hanging out with you guys and I love talking to you guys. Thanks for talking to me a little bit after the live. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. So have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful Sunday if I don't see you. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know